Let's get started.
Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
Do not attempt to adjust your dial. I'm transmitting live. Yo,
Let's get down to business.
Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
for the underground world, every street and borough.
You may learn something.
You are now listening to the Joe Rogan Experience with Chico, Simon, Kamar, and your host, Matt Floyd.
Welcome to the Joe Rogan Experience. My name is Matt Floyd, joined as always by Kamar
Welcome to the party.
and Simon.
Back in time.
What we do here is very simple. The three of us have listened to every episode of the Joe Rogan Experience this week. We're going to rate each episode as well as the week on a scale of 1 to 5 Jamie Vernons. We're then going to talk about each guest, the talking point, give our opinions, this, that, and the next. Well, first, Kamar, new patrons by any chance?
Hey, buddy, how's it going? No new patrons this week, but we all know that next week we need every single person who's ever listened to this. Please heed my words. Join the Patreon. The blackout is coming. We all must join the Patreon. Also, like and subscribe. You get the Patreon. Post Joe, the show after the show. Like and subscribe on YouTube.
Cool. You want to go over the guests so we can do what we do here and rate the week and start this fucker?
I would love to go over the guests because this is one of the best weeks I think I've ever had in my life with Joe Rogan. 2187, Adam Sandler. 2188, Adam Ray. 2189, Dennis Quaid. And then we finished off with the weirdest guy I've ever heard for 3 hours. 2190, Peter Thiel.
Isn't it weird how you call someone 2 weeks in a row and then they're not here, and then the week you don't call it, they show up?
You called Peter Thiel?
Yeah. No, you idiot. Adam Ray.
You called Adam Ray. That's what I thought.
No, me.
Me.
You did.
I called Adam Ray 2 weeks straight.
Someone did, yeah.
Yeah, and then he didn't show up.
The man of the hour.
Yeah, and then, of course, the week I don't call him.
Didn't I call Adam Sandler?
No, you fucking
I think so.
dipshit.
I think so.
think so,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was a good call, too.
Thank you, man.
That was, I mean,
You know that Adam Sandler last year was the actor that made the most money?
I believe that. Do you know that I was genuinely like, what the fuck, Adam Sandler? Like, excited as
Really?
any.
I didn't know anything got you out of bed like that anymore.
Well, no, they're like back in the day, the first time Elon was on, like, what the fuck? Just,
You couldn't tell he was excited by his text?
Shabba-dabba-doo.
yeah, I thought he was making fun of. I'll get right to it. I rate the week like 4.5, somewhere in that area.
Why don't you just go all the way and
Well,
give
it's
it
weird.
a 5?
What do you give it? I give it like a 4, maybe 4.5, somewhere in that area. Just give it what you give it. What do you rate it?
I'll give it a 4.
Okay.
A 4. Okay.
I'll give it a 3.5.
I will give it a...
It's close to a 4. If Dennis Quaid hadn't been in there, I think it's a strong 4. I just think Dennis Quaid kind of weighs it down. I know you're fine with it.
I don't.
He gives me the De Niro look for fucking fuck off. Like,
I think Dennis Quaid.
I can't give it your 4
yeah, we know, and that's fine.
because there were 2 that just...
You know, I can't give it a 4 because
They weren't terrible, but let's go with a 3.6. Solid 3.6. One bite, everyone knows the rules.
The Israeli discount.
I think there's something
3.6.
to whether or not you like someone, you really get to know who they are, or feel you get to know who they are, who you've wondered about your whole life.
So your whole life you were wondering what Adam Sandler was like. You
No,
never.
Dennis Quaid. Dennis Quaid.
Okay.
Oh, I forgot to mention there's also a fight companion, but we don't do that. But that we know that Shab is still in the house.
It's not that we don't do that. It's that it drops at an awkward time, and yeah, there's not much.
Extremely
We're not going to cover Brendan Schaub for the 57th fucking time. Was it good, the fight companion? Were there laughs?
Yeah, it was interesting because Brian Simpson was there
And Tony.
and Tony.
And Brendo.
So Brian Callen's really on the outs then. He's
Well,
I
probably
think-
just couldn't make it. He's gone to the last couple.
But that's the one interesting thing that I've always wondered about as we've seen comedians come into the Joe sphere and, you know, sort of be propelled to wherever.
Yeah.
What happened with Brian?
well, Brian was
who?
pre-Joe.
Brian or even Duncan.
Brian who?
Brian Callen.
Yeah, what do you mean, Brian?
What do you mean?
Always
what-
on the show.
what
Always on the
happened
show.
with him?
Trying to do stand up.
saying, why didn't he
They
end
never
up
even got
making
to
it?
theaters. They're still at clubs now. And obviously they've made it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, Kamar, that was a lot of shade to be throwing for a fucking stand-up comedian.
And I
yourself.
love both of them. I love both of them. Like I would love more for their career. or I would love their career. I'm not saying they're
Maybe
failures.
maybe they should do a podcast together.
What secret sauce did they not have that all these other people
We
did?
never made it.
Okay, let's.
You're forgetting that life gets in the way. Brian Callen went through an ugly divorce, and like, you know,
Absolutely. These are the things you'd wonder about, and you couldn't hold
And
against.
then he
someone.
got those Me Too accusations.
that didn't help. Yeah.
But Duncan didn't have anything like that. He's just been.
I think Duncan cares less.
Well, he got sick. There was that.
Yeah, man, he had testicular cancer. Okay, go ahead, come on. Let's fire it up. Peter Thiel.
2190 Peter Thiel. I feel like it's almost the other half of Elon's brain.
Yeah,
But both halves are firing it all on all cylinders.
Because if they started PayPal together,
Yeah.
that's what they created. Everything else has now been investment. Am I correct with that?
I'm just going to say this. Imagine being in those fucking meetings. Like, how dumb you'd feel.
Oh, I'm sure
Those two robots talking
I'm
back
sure
and forth
they've
at
been
each other.
having AI record.
those conversations must be
minutes of
insane
a
because
meeting.
there's like 3-minute pauses.
Yes, exactly.
They each pause for like 30 seconds. So there's just minute-long
Yeah.
pauses between every sentence.
But they know they're like, he has to download his answer, as do I. So it's going to take a minute
It
to.
must be infuriating.
But the results speak for themselves.
What do you mean? Well, everyone from that PayPal camp started something insane. So
Isn't Peter like he came across in this one like I'm not one of these philanthropy liberal schmucks who are out there, you know, ruining the world. Isn't he one of those
yes,
guys?
yeah.
Yeah, like I thought
He owns Palantir.
Palantir, which is what, a
Or does
think tank?
Palantir own him? As
Palantir
conversation?
is like I'm pretty sure they're in like the arms game and they take like government contracts. Let me look it up. Let me make sure I'm not wrong here.
Yeah, I mean it was very interesting, but I was confused the whole time by him saying they when he was.
This was the top comment. Is Palantir a front for the CIA? No, CIA is a front for Palantir.
There you go. Got it.
When he was talking about wanting to leave the state or leave the country, that's definitely a unique thing about, a denser population.
Can I just really quickly? So Palantir Gotham is an intelligence and defense tool used by militaries and counterterrorism analysts. Its customers include the U.S. intelligence community, United States Department of Defense, and their software is one of the 5 offerings authorized for mission-critical national security systems. So yeah, he's got his hands in.
So isn't it interesting that both him and Elon have gone on to do very
government-funded projects.
very intricate work for the government
No,
or integral work
it isn't
for
if
the
you consider
government.
what a fan of regulation he is.
What's interesting to me is this, and I know this is going to sound stupid because this is how you can look at pretty much everything we've ever invented. But like sitting where we are now, is it really that crazy to be like, we're going to figure out how people can move money around on the internet? I know it obviously was. It obviously was a huge undertaking because it took all this brain trust to do it. But like looking back, doesn't that seem like the kind of bro thing that someone would go on the Dragon's Den and be like totally ostracized for?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, what's your idea? Like, well, dragons. Like today, we're moving money. We're taking a little piece everywhere.
Who wants to take a financial wipeout with me?
This is what I'm saying. And then they'd be like, so wait, you're just moving money and taking a piece of the money every way? Like,
That's the stupidest idea I've ever heard.
this is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It seems
20 years ago, it was that, though. It was the internet's happening. It's doing all this stuff. How do you make money off of it?
That's what he's saying. Like it's not such a groundbreaking fucking thing. It's not like they invented binary code. They didn't invent the blockchain.
This is what I'm saying.
They just simply traded money.
I mean,
on
I
the
think what they did,
internet.
Simon, was sorry, Kumar. I think they figured out the security end of it. I think that was the big aspect.
Okay,
was
right.
if you're going to
It
move
has
money
to
on
be
the
safe.
internet, you're not going to do it if it's getting stolen every third transaction, right? That's just never going to
So
work.
they must have had some algorithm that was allowing
Precisely.
them to
Precisely.
So they kind of did invent the binary code, is what you're saying.
I'm saying I'm too stupid to know. What I'm saying is I started off by saying almost all inventions, the wheel, you could look
Yeah.
back on and be like, how did it take them any time to figure that out? But obviously the guy that did pretty fucking genius, right?
I mean, it's just so interesting how all of these guys, the Elons, who are inventing these things that become integral for this society that's built up around us, trading money, driving, whatever the fuck it is, you know what I mean, are all like Microsoft. They're all government fucking goons.
Well, I just think the truth is like, I think as most companies grow, they start to realize like the biggest money is in government contracts.
You would think that would be the case, and that's how they've let the narrative run. But really, you look at guys like Microsoft. He wasn't in his Microsoft, Bill Gates. He wasn't in his garage fucking. That's a story they made up.
Okay, but how about
in
this?
his garage making things? He got a government grant to do his work.
I mean, that does okay, but that's a weird like. We give out grants all the time in hopes that someone will come up with the next big thing that like helps humanity, right? That's not that nefarious. Am I wrong?
I mean, I don't think it was actually a grant. I think it was just money given to.
Okay, well that's different. If you're using the word grant, I think that specifically you got to take that out of it because a government grant, like
it wasn't a grant.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
It was government funded.
But my point was like Jeff Bezos, for example, okay? He starts Amazon and it's weird in itself because he tells everyone like, this thing won't make money for a decade. I can't possibly make money off. And people are pouring money in. Do you know what their biggest money maker is?
Books.
Their clouds. No, the cloud service they sell to the CIA and to the U.S. government.
Yeah.
They make like, I can't remember the number they make off it, but it's a staggering amount of money every year from the U.S. government.
Who bought Ring?
Shaquille O'Neal.
Well, no, Nas
Amazon?
and Shaq were like initial investors
Amazon
in it.
owns
Yeah,
Ring,
sure.
right?
Yeah, I don't know.
You know how much data they pull from those Ring cameras?
They say that Ring cameras cover 70% of the U.S. streets, like alone.
So you know how in
70 is a number I made up. It's
well,
high,
no, it's a big number. You know how in Britain we're like,
CCTV.
oh, that's crazy. They're just being watched all the time. Like we would never let that happen in this free
we did it ourselves.
Experiment of a society. It was, I mean, did it ourselves is a weird one because that you're insinuating like you had free will.
You
to
do
not buy the products that they are making sure that you buy by any means necessary.
But you do have that. You don't have to put in a Ring camera.
Again, I see what you're saying, Matt. Like, yes, of course, we all have the choice whether to put it on. But when like certain companies decide to make these assertive moves like that to get everybody to use a product, we're all subject to their trickery, you know? Like they're using really underhanded ways to convince you, even though you think you have free will,
How is Ring using weird ways to make you purchase Ring cameras? Just out of
I mean,
curiosity.
I don't know all the dirty tricks they pulled, but I'm sure they did.
The dirtiest trick I heard is some woman went to a restaurant in Disney and told the waiter she had a bunch of allergies. And there's no problem. Then she ate her food. There was nuts and dairy in it or whatever it was. She ended up dying.
This is insane.
And
this is crazy.
So the husband or whatever went to like wrongful death suit. It wasn't a Disney restaurant, but it was in Disneyland. And they said there was a stipulation in the terms and conditions.
This is nuts.
That they signed for a free trial of Disney.
Disney Plus. You got to explain it to them.
Disney Plus, you know, like the streaming service.
Yeah.
That bound them from, they had to go to arbitration if they had an issue with Disney. Like that 7 degrees of working with the corporation. So anything they do is not.
Do you want to?
What he's saying is
Make it
this:
English.
woman goes
Thank you.
Woman goes to Disneyland. She dies at eating at the restaurant.
Yeah.
The husband goes to sue Disney. Disney then says, "Unfortunately, you signed up for Disney Plus, and in the terms and services that you agreed to in Disney Plus, we don't have to go to court."
Shut the fuck up. So by signing up for Disney Plus,
Yes.
you're waiving your rights
Precisely.
to sue Disney, the corporate. So you
Yes.
could die on a roller coaster
Yeah.
and you can't sue
Yeah.
them because you wanted
Because
to
you
watch
si-
The Mandalorian?
Yeah, precisely.
Exactly.
Get the fuck out of here.
Right, it's
fuck
crazy.
in here.
I was going to send that to you for the post, Joe, but I'm glad you brought it up. Yeah, isn't that crazy?
That should be illegal.
I agree.
That 100%
should not be.
illegal.
Yeah,
There are
crazy.
no bounds. There are no bounds.
Where's the fucking FDA or who takes care
Simon,
of this
you know what
shit?
that's from? That's from the hot coffee.
It's in that movie?
No, but the whole legislation around why they can do that is the hot coffee shit.
From what I understand,
the whole idea.
The tort laws?
Yeah, the whole idea was that they can make you sign something that says we don't have to go to court, we'll take you to arbitration,
Yes.
which we pay for the arbitration, the arbitrator, and all that stuff.
Instead of a jury trial,
Yeah.
and that's where you're going to get 12 people
So
to go
it's-
fuck this company and give you $80 billion.
Oh my God, that's so crazy. That is so crazy.
So they're all bad. They're all bad.
Hold on, wait. Can I go real quick back to the ring thing, Simon? I'll give you one. I hate to do this. Corey. I know
I'm
you-
going to tell you one. I could have remembered it.
How about this? Most people get a Ring camera because their Amazon packages get stolen.
Oh, hilarious. Who's stealing all the Amazon packages?
Well, not
Amazon. Yeah, no, 100%. And then you know what they do, Matt? I watch it on the internet all the time. They just sell them as lots of people buy skids full of Amazon products.
I've seen it. I've seen someone steal food on the Ring cam. And also my buddies went to one of those places this morning.
It was an Amazon guy who stole the food?
No, I'm sure it was the lover of the delivery driver.
Yeah,
like-
they have a scam going. Yeah,
That's the only way you run up and just take food. But
It's
anyways,
so bad.
that's hilarious.
Porch pirate shit is so bad right now. I saw multiple videos this week. I saw multiple videos this week of this is crazy, of Ring camera footage of the Amazon driver literally putting the package down. The second it leaves his hand, two opposing porch pirates start duking it out in front of the house for the package.
Shooting cannons at each other and swashbuckling.
What's crazy is that the Amazon driver just watches it all go down. He's like, yeah, it's fine, whatever.
What is he gonna do? Go risk his life
Obviously
to
not.
fucking
No, fuck
save
no.
a toaster? No, that dude. Yeah, the world. It's
Anyway, Peter Thiel.
Yeah.
How are you writing notes right now? Are you
hold
writing
on, 'cause
bits?
They talk
He's
about,
writing bits.
They talk about such amazing shit on this one. He's so annoying to listen to, Peter Thiel. His cadence, his everything. But yeah, they had some pretty.
What are you chat GPTing there? What was that?
I was trying to brainstorm a neighborhood swashbuckling buccaneer, another name for porch pirates. Sorry, he can't decide if he wants to leave the state or leave the country. That's a challenge that we have in Canada, being this huge area that
I'll fucking kill you. You can wait.
even in Europe, if you're part of the European Union, and England has a bunch of places in it that you could move. It's not as easy, I don't think, in Canada.
To move anywhere in the country? What do you mean?
Well, just if you don't like it in America, there's 4 cities that you could go to at any given time that would sort of suit you. There's a lot
you
of
might have to go
options.
far, though. Is that your point? The distance?
I mean, the farthest you're going to go is 4 hours, 5 hours, right? I guess not driving.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
if you let's say you're born in Louisiana and you're like super liberal, you're like, I want to get out of here. I need to go to Portland. That's a big fucking move.
But there's probably like 4 cities in that state, and that would be a big move. But even if you're in I guess that would be Washington.
What you're missing though is the state. I think usually you have to leave the state.
Like we have the best situation that you could move from Ottawa to Toronto.
Yeah.
Sudbury and other stuff like that. But it just seems like there's more options. And also in Europe, you could go to more cities.
What do you mean? There are 50 options in 50. How many states are there?
50.
We only have, how many provinces are there?
10.
10 options.
Yeah.
And some of them aren't even viable. Like,
And I mean, the
I'm not moving to
idea of
Saskatchewan ever.
it's insane.
if you didn't like
Winnipeg?
if you didn't like how things were being done here, 'cause
Yeah.
that was the premise for why we'd move.
Yeah.
Where would you go? Or would you think of leaving the province? Just staying in the province, going to the thing? Could you even imagine leaving a city? That's I think a country part of me.
I mean, you're forgetting that I've moved away 5 times.
That was the biggest one to Vancouver.
Well, that was the farthest distance, but I moved to New York. I lived in the States for just under a year.
And did you feel far away?
They talked about some really heady shit in this episode. So I beg you, Kamar, don't get caught on your trivialities.
He doesn't want to hear anything about my life, is what he's saying. Move on.
No,
Let's go.
he's like worried about moving states when this guy was like cracking the code to the universe.
No, but when we talk about our government's ridiculous, you don't have this You can move somewhere. You know what I mean? Well, not here really. That's what I think was my point. The only way to reduce the deficit is to shrink government and raise Social Security. That's the last I'll talk about that. But these pending things, it has to be the government getting smaller. I can't tax your way out of it.
Okay. I agree with you. Whatever it takes to fucking
AI
glaze over this.
AI
donut.
has passed the Turing test.
And we just never realized.
So that's like this thing that we were like, while doing this podcast, saying, you know, what if this day happens, is the end. So I say that's a good thing that has passed the Turing test, and we're still here.
Well, why have you decided it's
around?
past the Turing test?
Well, they said Peter Thiel said it.
So does that mean that some of us out here are actually androids and we just don't know it? And we've been living, like, what was that point where we're supposed to merge with robots? That's supposed to happen in
Singularity.
that happened a long time ago, and we've didn't even know it because that's how good AI is at doing its job of hiding from us. That's insane to think about.
I think
That's insane to think about.
With the singularity, there would be no scarcity. I think that's part and parcel. So I don't think we're there yet.
I mean, okay.
Why does it have to be that way, though?
Because everything is just known. That's what the singularity means to me.
Yeah, but what he's saying is like the singularity.
Or there
for,
may be
for Simon, it's just that there could be one thing walking around looking like us, but it's actually an android, and it does know everything, but it chooses not to share or give us the wealth or.
That's right. The best thing it can do is make all the money, live the best life possible, and use us as fodder. Which seems what all these fucking billionaires are doing.
And so you're saying all these elite billionaires are actually hooked into this thing.
That would make total sense.
Because it wouldn't just be universal right away.
I mean, that doesn't make sense to me that every billionaire is just hooked up to this fucking.
No. But you have this group of elite that we were always wondering, how is Elon so fucking smart? Well, because he really is a human.
No, that's just a cop out. I'm sorry.
Cyborg hybrid.
To me, that's
thing.
just listen, I get it. I'm like right in the middle or this side of the bell curve, not the smart side. I understand. It's tough to wrap your head around people that are this smart, but I think you're doing a disservice. There are just people that are far, 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 far smarter than the three of us.
But does their intelligence and their wealth couple to that they don't actually have certain thoughts that other human beings have? They don't have a fear. They have a security detail like...
They have a security detail. First of all,
what do they worry about?
I think the real question you should ask is like, should someone like Peter Thiel, like, should you be as rich as they are from creating what I said earlier? Like, they haven't really, they didn't change the world.
Well, that's what I said in the beginning. They made PayPal, and then everything else outside of that is just investment.
Yeah.
Wise investment, so they're like Warren Buffett's.
Yeah.
But they did make something, at least. I don't know if Warren Buffett ever made anything.
I'm just saying, like, the guy that created the fucking Phillips screwdriver is probably nowhere close to as rich as fucking Peter Thiel or Elon Musk.
Or the person who says,
and you could
Cabela's
easily
tools.
argue that guy fucking did more for the world than they did because they created PayPal. Mm-hmm. Like, we use PayPal. It's insane the fucking stranglehold they have over the market and how much you give them. I bet in a year we give them $1,000.
Does Peter Thiel get any of that?
I bet he does.
And you know, now that I think about it, like, so it must be like you're saying, like 90% of the population uses PayPal.
A lot of people use it, of course.
And if it was owned by the government.
But I mean, keep in mind, PayPal's about to take a big hit once this new iPhone
No,
drops.
just for tracking data purposes of money moving around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure.
Like, who wants to have that information more than anybody?
You're implying people who are getting lots of data have a lot of power and a lot of wealth.
No, I'm implying that we think the government is a bunch of dum-dums, but really they did a couple of things that were fucking brilliant by like...
Yeah, but you always do this. Like, it's not... I think you do this the wrong thing. The government has nothing to do with it. It gets created. They realize the wealth of information, and then they just swoop in and take it.
Possibly.
Like, that's the easiest way.
Possibly, or they find guys who they know they can manipulate. They give them the information that they need to do, so it becomes a public enterprise. Because if they do it, then we just turn around and accuse them of doing exactly what I'm saying, which is trying to monitor all the money moving everywhere.
But they don't need to do that because PayPal has to divulge all the monetary shit anyway because they're like a bank.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's
And then-
like, oh, don't do that, government. You know what I mean? Like, you're slapping yourself on the wrist at that point.
But I didn't say PayPal is like, there's nothing nefarious there, is my point. Like, you can't, like, just because they exist doesn't mean there's anything nefarious
it's just
going
all
on.
about.
And again,
I'm
hold on.
just spitballing here.
Well, Visa is the same, or Interact. These are huge companies that have us by the balls.
Yeah,
Live Nation.
We think they're public companies, though, or
I don't-
We
I-
think
they are.
They're not run by the government.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're saying we're hoping they're regulated by the government, because if no one's regulated them, they could be just fucking us.
Like you know what? It's stupid. Don't worry about it.
I thought he articulated the climate science well, talking about how there's the environmentalist side and then there's the energy sector side, and that we can't have the growth of what we think. Everyone living, he compared to a North American lifestyle. The need for energy would be like 4 times what we're using right now in barrels of energy a day. So they sort of, he's not sure whether population decline is good or bad or just inevitable, right? You guys got that from this?
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't mean to be an asshole, but I didn't understand any of that.
Kamar, his big point was like nuclear energy. The reason we don't have nuclear energy is because we couldn't give it to other countries because they would use it. Because once you have nuclear energy, you always have the option to create weapons
It
from it.
started as a solution and then became a problem.
Right. You can't give it to them to run their.
His point was if you
turbines.
gave a country that you didn't really trust, you gave them nuclear capabilities to
got
power their country, they could then build a weapon to attack you. And that he said that's why he believes that's why we never sort of moved
didn't
forward
advance.
with nuclear energy. He didn't think it had anything to do with like like Chernobyl or 3 Mile Island or any of the stuff that we state as.
That would totally make sense.
And now we're in the same situation with AI
But
as being the solution or this crazy problem.
the only problem I have with what he says is like he did this thing where it's like, whoa, we can't move that far past any country. And it's like, we do that all the time. We do that all the time. The second we have a breakthrough, we tout it, we show everyone, we fucking Michael Jackson dance around it, and then eventually 10 years down the road, we share it with our allies. But like never have we ever been like, whoa, we'll leave these other countries in the dust. Like that's crazy. We've never done that. We would always just build 10 nuclear power
They
plants.
do it. They keep it from the other countries till they know they can sell it to them.
Still, but that's my point is why wouldn't we?
It's not like open sourced.
No, I get it. But even then, it just seems odd that like America wouldn't be like, we have this clean energy that we can power the country for cheap.
But if we give it to, he specifically said India. They didn't want India to have the nuke and take out Pakistan.
Yeah, my point is, if you're ready to say we're not willing to give it to India, then you're obviously willing to just build it yourself anyway and not give it to India. Was there fear that if they built it, India would steal it?
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about why they didn't build nuclear power plants. Are you with us today?
We did build nuclear power plants.
But,
Yeah, but
not,
why we
not how
didn't-
we should have.
What I mean is not enough for the whole grid to be on nuclear power. That's what I'm saying.
There were restrictions put in against other people, which I think that's we're getting to what you want to talk about. But the through line is he obviously talks to Epstein. Which one?
Well,
Eric.
he works for
him,
a
right?
podcast together,
He's
and he works for
Weinstein's
Palantir.
boss, isn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah,
And so talking about
and mentor.
Eric always talks about was there stagnation in these fields of physics, and he's like, it's so we don't blow ourselves up, like we sort of put in fail safes, and he doesn't know if it's a good or bad thing, but that's how he sees it.
Sorry. Can we just go back to what you were saying? So, do you think that's the reason why they
No.
never put the whole thing on nuclear power?
no, that's what I'm saying. Is I don't buy what he's saying because that's not how we operate.
Wouldn't it make more sense that it didn't go on nuclear power because the people who were making all the money off it being on oil had
Yeah.
already cemented themselves as like the leaders in?
Yeah, I mean, that also doesn't make sense to me because when you have all the money, you can easily just become the nuclear power plant. You know what I mean? Like Big Oil, for example. Let's say Big Oil, who has all this money, tomorrow, would they not, instead of burying it, would they not be smarter just buying the patents and then building?
Right.
Like they build the thing and then sell us the energy at a stupid high rate anyway, even
And
though they're
wouldn't
making
they be
it
really
perpetually?
smart to just do it, switch over, and then still sell oil to the people who want it?
Well, no, but hold on. We act like oil goes away that's not true. Like if we have nuclear power, we don't necessarily do away with oil.
Well-
Tankers, jets, like all of our cargo is shipped with oil, and that's not going away anytime soon.
Well, theoretically, you could.
Ideally, there'd be some sort of nuclear battery.
That's what I was going to say. They'll invent a little tiny thing to power one giant.
I think my
steam
point
liner.
my point is, again, if you have the money that big oil does, you get ahead of all that. You sell the batteries, you sell you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, maybe they're just like cheap and they don't want to have to like get rid of their infrastructure. I don't know.
I'll just use the example, like big tobacco. They saw vapes coming and they didn't get scared. They just said, we'll sell the vapes and the cigarettes.
Yeah.
And if people want to quit smoking to vape, we've got that covered.
But we're killing them no matter what.
We have them hooked on our product regardless. So we don't really give a shit one way, what. And the same with Zyn. They're probably like, we own the Zyn too. So like, you might be quitting one of our products, but you're picking up another one. It's like Crest owning Colgate. Like they don't really
And
give
it's
a fuck.
cheaper to make these things than to make cigarettes.
Sure.
But what we know about civilizations collapsing, the Roman Empire.
Well, every civilization that's ever existed.
But
What-
these are just made up.
What about England?
Well, that's the empire not being in charge anymore. But he's saying that the Roman Empire went from 1 million people to 10,000.
Yeah. I'm just saying, as far as empires go, the more modern we get, like England.
It's less violent.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, you're talking about not very long ago at that point. You know what I mean?
Sure, but I'm just saying they ruled like, dude, they, like we said, every 6 days on average, someone celebrates their independence from England.
Yeah.
They obviously ruled with an iron fist and they went.
in modern history.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. What I'm saying though is if you want to use modern history, even the Romans didn't go away per se. Italy's a populated country. It's a modern country, right? Like
Yeah, it may the British Empire may, for all intents and purposes, have collapsed considering what it was.
No, all I'm saying
Sure.
that is the current incarnation of whatever the British Empire is right now. Just make up a date, okay? Starts in 1600. Up until 1600, it had been perhaps the Druids or something.
Sure.
You know what I mean? None of these dates are right. I'm just saying, so whatever, yeah, they conquered a lot of things in the last 200 years. Like, we're not even talking about a very long time.
yeah, but I mean,
It's more than 200 years for Britain.
it is, yeah. But also what I'm saying, my point is though, as you move more modern, things move faster too. Right? Like the farther back you go, the easier it was to have a 3,000 year reign because just things moved slower back then. And it was easier to keep everything under wraps, right? Does that make a little more sense? Like as you get more modern, people communicate more. Communication basically is easier.
So you think we're going to see more collapse than ever before of civilization?
Well, that's what Peter is suggesting.
Because it'll happen so quickly.
Well, I mean, even then, like China, we don't like to talk about them, but the Chinese have been around for literally ever.
Yeah.
They haven't gone there. You could argue that they've had like an ebb and flow in power along the world, but forever China has maintained Chinese territory and they haven't really gone away. We do talk often about the ones that failed, and there are some of them, but like, I don't know.
But when we were young, population explosion was the problem, right?
We were told
too
that.
many people.
Too many people. And he's coming saying that's not the case.
Well, his 30-year, 33-year, whatever, that's crazy, man.
if no one
Like, Kamar, don't forget, our country's a perfect example. Like,
has babies.
we have space for, like, there's 14 acres for every person right now, or 22 acres.
But we don't
whatever.
have the infrastructure.
Exactly. Like, we could take in all the world's refugees.
The whole world.
We just have nowhere to put them and no jobs for them. And
Half
that,
of it is
So
inhabitable.
apparently the whole world, every single person can
Texas.
fit inside. No, Los Angeles.
The city of Los Angeles, that would probably be butt to butt.
yeah, no, that's what I'm saying is like space is not like, again, it's
Is
you
that
know,
true?
But we thought the population was exploding. It's actually dwindling.
Yes,
But
other than in Africa.
it comes to a point where everyone's old.
No, how long did he say it would take to have one person left on Earth if you keep losing by whatever the current standard? Didn't he say was it 1,000 years? No, it wasn't even that long.
I don't remember. He dropped a lot of numbers. He spoke a lot.
But it was something crazy. I was like, oh my God, that doesn't take long at all. If it becomes like the current fad for women to not have babies, how long does it take to lose 8 billion people?
Well,
I-
that's
but
interesting
hold on, we
you say
also-
that. That is the current fad.
I got it. But stop. We do this fucked up thing. It's not a fad. It's fucking expensive. Could you afford a kid?
I know, but
Trend.
Are the
I didn't
are
mean
the
fad.
powers that be making it that way?
Yeah, well, this is what I was about.
And
My point,
pushing people.
My point was about to be billionaires like Peter Thiel make it impossible for regular people like us to have kids.
That's right.
Because they own everything and they jack the price of everything up.
Yeah.
And then we can't afford to live normal lives or own homes. And then he has the audacity to be like,
Yeah.
we have a fucking population problem.
And then he comes on a fucking billionaires podcast to gaslight us about fucking not having enough people. Fuck this guy and fuck this fucking show.
Kamar, it's like I told you when I went to the Sphere, the fucking video they show you is like, you're ruining the earth.
Yeah,
and it's
nice.
like, you built the light
This,
bulb in the
yeah,
desert.
thing is
asshole.
ruining
Yeah,
the earth.
exactly.
Do you know
Yes.
how much AC it's taking to run this fucking ball right now?
Precisely.
You dumb
And
fucking
I'm left
fucks.
feeling bad. Well, they made
Yeah.
$80 off me. Like
Yeah.
it's fucking bananas.
They shipped every piece of that dome individually from China
From
on
Vienna.
a ship.
Exactly,
that
yeah.
fucking
So, but just back to that, like I think these guys do a good. This is one of the biggest problem with podcasts, is that it normalizes these fucking weirdo billionaires who own 10 yachts.
I hate it.
They
Like-
cannot be normalized.
No, like we're supposed to be buddy with Elon. We're supposed to feel like this guy's just like us. I'm really sorry, he's not. I don't give a fuck.
But if he was like, Matt, here's $1 million, say you're like me, you'd be like, I'm sorry, Ilana.
No, I'd be the
Of
biggest
course.
spokesperson ever overnight.
So they definitely live in a different dimension.
But Kamar, this is part of the problem too, is like we're now at a point where scarcity is becoming so obvious that all of us will sell out for money because you have to. You won't have a future if you don't sell out for money. So if you're not willing to suck Peter Thiel's dick or Elon's dick or Jeff Bezos's dick or some billionaire's dick, you're probably not going to ever get to retire or to enjoy a fucking, like, I don't know.
What's up, brother?
Everybody's sucking somebody's dick. That's,
he it was interesting. They had a little debate about the pyramids, eh?
well, Peter Thiel just thinks he knows everything about everything.
Well, he knows a lot about something.
He knows a lot. He seems like a smart guy.
It
at
feels
the-
like these guys can never have small talk. Do you think that they do?
Yeah, that's because you're like, how's the weather? And he's like, well, technically, if you,
Because of my factories in Laos.
the weather doesn't
And it
exist.
shouldn't be any of your business because you're going to die of something else.
Yeah, no. It was Joe tried to flex on him a couple of times. And
Which is so weird.
Peter Thiel immediately just jumped in to take control until the JFK. That was the only time Joe really had enough like stored information to really rival this guy in something.
But one of the huge disagreements I thought is Joe was pushing how he thinks hallucinogens have advanced society, and Peter doesn't agree at all. And he also was like, I think they've decommissioned the MK Ultra, like acknowledging something and saying,
he's like, I have the data on my phone from the CIA.
I mean, the most recent studies we've had is only with mushrooms.
It's like they don't do that anymore because we've passed the Turing test and we have androids now that we just send out into the public to do our biddings.
But really think about it for a second, though. Like, we're listening to a guy who has ties to the Department of Defense tell us on Joe Rogan's show, trust me, they're not doing MK Ultra anymore. Once every 3 months, he has an ex-CIA
This is
guy
Mike
on
Baker.
named Mike Baker who comes in and tells us, like, trust me, everything we're doing is on the up
Nothing
and
to
up.
see here.
Yeah, don't even look. Don't
There's a
dig
flash in
deep.
the pan.
Like, we're talking about a podcast that started off being like, the moon is made of cheese, man. And
totally.
literally, we've gone to the wing of the CIA where they're like, tell them this,
Yeah.
give them this. And we're all just fucking...
It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
The one time I thought even though he talks like he sounded smart, is when I sort of like aired out all Bill Gates' dirty laundry, where he may have started the pandemic to get out of paying alimony.
and then Joe
Like some fucking car salesman,
Dude,
who
Joe-
bought another dealership to have an affair with a side piece.
Joe was listening to it. I could like hear it in his voice. He was like, "This is a fucking great idea. I could do this." And then he even says, "I would do that."
It was really, if you're a billionaire, when you manipulate things and get things a good way, it's way bigger than
He's like,
lying to one guy and telling your girl I was here.
I thought I was going to have to murder her. I just have to get her to think she can't go against COVID. This is fucking brilliant.
It is crazy because as a poor person, you think like I get divorced, I have to give them half of nothing or half of what, if you're worth like 100 grand, you're like, well, I guess I have to give them 50 grand. When you're worth that much, you don't just have that cash on hand where you could just be like, here's your $35 billion, fuck off. It's like, I have to sell half of Microsoft. I have to sell half of Waste Management. I have to sell half of all these interests that I control that are very, very important to my game.
Pandemic. much easier than moving all these things around.
And if it's not the pandemic, it's the staircase. You know what I'm saying?
But wait, isn't it great too that we have this billionaire sitting here telling us, like, oh, another billionaire that you should be afraid of. He's got his finger on the button. He can just hit pandemic. But me, I don't think you should worry about me. I'm just Peter Thiel.
Yeah.
I didn't feel that. I just thought he was, like I said, they all talk differently, not different from us. If you want to, whether your bias is Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Peter Thiel. Mark Cuban maybe doesn't have as much money as they do because he seems a little more down to earth, but he's still in that weird
Mark
air.
Cuban just has like a couple $1 billion. Like he's like a normal, you could sit down with Mark Cuban. If for some reason Mark Cuban sat beside you on a flight, you'd have a great flight.
Yeah, Mark Cuban's different from the rest of these guys. These guys seem like they passed the Turing test, but there's still a little glitch in the operating system, It takes a little bit of time for them to process the information. It's not instantaneous.
Yeah, they're the 1.0.
Yeah.
And like, I don't think he's trying to throw shade in the way that he said, I met Epstein. It's like, oh, before he got arrested? Oh, no. After I knew he was doing young girls.
You might have to run the tape, but I'm pretty sure at one point he says, the whole girl thing wasn't such a big deal. What was really a thing was the way he was doing the taxes or something.
Yeah.
Like he totally dismissed the child.
The internet agrees.
Did you see that? Well, did you see that bit I posted yesterday on Instagram? You don't follow me. This guy does this bit where he's like, Greta Thunberg got into it with, who's the fucking, the guy that lives in Romania. Everyone hates. What the fuck is his name?
Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate. He's like Greta Thunberg. No, this is a while ago. He's like, Greta Thunberg got into it with Andrew Tate online. And he's like, men, he's like, there's no anti-men bullying. He's like, you can say men have a small penis and we just have to fucking take it. He goes, Greta Thunberg got into it with Andrew Tate online. And she said he had small dick energy. And he goes, Andrew Tate is currently on house arrest for sex trafficking in Romania. And he goes, and she chose to use his small dick energy above that. He's like, that's how much we care about sex trafficking in general. And dude, we don't give a shit. We don't fucking care. I think it's part and parcel. I think every rich person on earth knows sex trafficking is just like, we've been doing this forever. It'll continue. Just hope you weren't born in a shitty place at a shitty time.
Oh, it seems weird. It seems like all these elites have some weird disposition to, because some of it is like really young. You know what I mean? Which is,
dude,
I get it. If you're like, I don't get it, but like if get like a fucking 10 and she's 17 instead of 18, you know what I mean?
No,
that doesn't seem to be the case.
See, here's what's weird to me is like, even you saying that, like, I remember Jim Jeffries had this bit where he was talking about Leo and his girlfriends. I think it was on Joe. And he was like, I understand sleeping with a hot 19-year-old. He's like, my mind can wrap around that all day. He's like, what I can't understand is hanging out with a hot 19-year-old.
And if you are to that, you're keeping her from her friends, or you cannot hang around her friends.
Fuck no.
It's just so weird.
That's what I'm saying. So like dude, any age like beyond 20 years younger than you is pretty fucking creepy.
I agree. I think 30
it's
is
pretty
the
fucking
youngest I could
creepy.
go.
I mean, listen,
date a woman.
once you get to 40, once you're both over 40, I think age is like whatever. But I don't know, man. I think it's all fucking weird.
And it's weirder with every day. We had a lot more in common with each other 40 years ago. If you had that gap, there wasn't that much of a information gap, but now it's different worlds.
I just think there's two different. There's the rich guy who wants to sleep with the really hot girl.
Yeah, you're talking
You
about
know
like
what
the
I mean?
Arab guy who wants his haram of women or whatever. What's the fucking
Not
word I'm
Peter
looking
Thiel.
for?
Then there's the group of elite rich people who seem to want like
Taboo.
adrenochrome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That age children, and that it's just fucking weird. And then you look back in time and you're like, oh well, every great civilization, the elite have done this, and you're like, that's fucking weird.
Yeah.
That's weird to think about. And it's happening right now in our civilized time. Like, it's just fucking weird.
But what did he say too? He believes that
The
like
weirdest Bigfoot.
what did he say? He was like he believes that you can't become a cardinal unless you're gay. Like they won't let you become a cardinal unless you're kind of like
that totally makes sense, right? Like
Scary
if
as
you're
fuck.
trying to control Rome
yeah.
and the cardinals are the guys who have all that fucking totally makes sense. And then why wouldn't they just do that with all politicians?
Well, it's like if you hire someone new and you're stealing and you got to get them in on it.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like we all steal $50 a night if you don't do it. So
Yeah.
you got to make sure the guy's fucking in on it or you're out.
That's right.
It is crazy though. Like literally when you think about it, dude, I saw this thing the other day. I told you I've been watching a ton of weird like interrogation videos on YouTube. The amount of people that are caught doing heinous crimes to kids, sexual crimes to kids, and then released in like not like it'd be one thing if you were like this guy raped a 12-year-old, he got released 10 years later, 12 years later. A part of you could be like, hey, the system works. They got him for 10 years. Like I get it. But when you hear like they did this and they were out 18 months later, like the system is not built to punish child predators enough.
Because there's no murder involved. You know what I mean?
No, but my point is,
It is a violent crime, but maybe it's not. It must be. As a violent crime.
I made this point like when we wanted to be hard on drugs, we were hard on drugs. We just gave out double the sentence.
Yeah, no, listen, you're preaching to the choir here, bud. Like
Even the same thing. You talked about violent crimes. If you rob a bank, it's X amount of years. The second you pull out a gun, it's like double. You know what I mean? Like it becomes an armed robbery, and your sentence is now 20 years. So why don't we? Yeah, violent crime on a kid, like minimum 10 years. And I realize that there's people out there that are on the list for
why
like.
don't you make it life?
Sure.
Let's really dissuade people from doing it. Like it's immediate life in prison.
not everyone feels
you
that
fuck
way.
Well, nobody's right, unfortunately.
Who's gonna fucking vote against that? You know what I mean?
I don't know.
No, but it's good because if we
It's
do it,
kind of
then
like the Bill Gates, Melinda thing. Like you can't.
no, but it's good because do it, and then everyone who votes against it, you're like, hey,
Yeah, yeah.
You are.
whoa, what happened
yeah,
here?
yeah.
What was the reason for this? Little stain on your fucking.
Everybody with a mother step forward. Not so fast, Mikulowski.
Bobrovsky.
Peter Thiel thinks worrying about UPAs is a waste of time.
What was UPAs?
Go on. UAPs.
UAPs, sorry. Dyslexia.
Unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Yeah, the owner of Palantir would tell you to not worry about UAPs.
Yeah. But you know what? Joe is probably absolutely right. Like I like kind of where his head's at on the UFO thing right now. We've definitely been visited by aliens. Who knows how long they've been coming here. But what we're seeing, the tic tac, that's us.
Whatever we've
Training.
developed.
Yeah.
Testing out our thing that we just, what's the fucking word?
Developed?
No, where we find somebody else's thing and
Reverse
then-
engineered.
Thank you. That we've reverse engineered from the gifts or whatever you want to call them, or us shooting it down or whatever it is. That totally makes sense to me. That 100% makes sense to me. Because when I'm thinking about aliens and this advanced space, why on earth would they ever be visible to us? Like, unless they wanted to be seen. If you can fly, okay. If you can if you can jump time,
Yeah.
you're pretty fucking advanced. You can definitely make a cloaking system. But even if you're just going across the universe, you're probably advanced enough to make a cloaking system, you know?
Well, you also mentioned in that case, you'd also probably have warp speed weapons.
Sure.
Well, I think it's something you can't take for granted because even in 2024, it's still hard to kill a bunch of people. You need a plane or a missile, something like before you even know it's. Do you know what I mean? It's still sort of archaic. It's drones now, but it's not what I thought of the.
Well, there's the nuclear weapon and the atomic weapon. I
What do you even mean?
kills
They
a
can
lot
shoot.
of people.
They can launch a Hellfire missile from a fucking ship and kill like.
But you know what they haven't?
It's pretty advanced, but
you
it's
know
not
what
warp
they
speed
haven't-
weapons. That
Yeah.
You know what they haven't come up with is. Did you ever end up watching the 3-Body Project? No. You know the scene where they it just starts cutting everything in half, whatever that thing is. That was amazing. man.
You'd be so cool if you'd known what he's talking about. It was amazing.
It was amazing. You really missed
Movie
out.
magic.
You fucking blow me.
Really missed out.
But his reason for not thinking about the aliens, he equated to the waiting for your luggage analogy. That there's only so long you can wait for your luggage, and all of a sudden, have you ever gone to the store and it's like back of 5 minutes, and you're freaking out? Like, is it the beginning of 5 minutes?
Yeah. Did you just leave? Have you been gone for 15? Are you getting blown?
This mind fuck you put yourself in.
This
Same
is
thing
the
with
bear
luggage.
telling you not to worry about bears. You know, that is exactly what this guy is. Of course, like you were saying, of course, he's telling you not to worry about UFOs
And
because he's a fucking alien.
he didn't have the wherewithal to get his social media company to get his message out, so he's got to do it here.
You know how they said
They're gonna fall.
if we're living in the simulation, if the simulation is real, then it's already happened and we're living in it. Or if space travel exists,
If space travel exists,
it's already happening. You know what I'm saying? Like if time travel exists,
yeah.
somebody has already time traveled. That's just
Yeah. Like the second it exists, we've already altered everything.
the timeline to right. That's what they
Yes,
say.
technically, if I were tinkering over there with a time machine, the second I screwed in the right thing to make it work,
I've
you could
already come
argue
back and
you
looked
could
at
argue that
myself.
everything around us would change instantly.
So maybe that's the same kind of thing with AI being sentient. You know what I mean? Like the second we figure out a way theoretically to do that, it's already happened.
Sure, yeah.
Anyways. And maybe he even said it. He said maybe AI is the alien, right? And AI has us looking for little green men or reptile men or whatever. And really, no, we should be looking for something totally different, something that looks exactly like us.
Well,
But
even
we
then you
never
could
look for
no,
it
but you could do
because they
you,
convince us not to.
you could do a much weirder thing where like so let's say we advance 1,000 more years, we create AI and we conquered somewhat space travel. Then we accidentally wipe ourselves out. But we've sent out like 15 drones that are flying around space, just doing their thing. They come back thousands of years later, as we've instructed them to. There's a new civilization here. It's like in its infancy. So like, let's say pyramid time. Would it even recognize like the new species? Or would it just like be checking us out as if like we were a different planet?
Well, that might be exactly what
That's what
we're
I'm saying.
looking
It
at.
could be like-
no, 100%. I mean, and if we're all in agreement that at some point we're going to figure out a way to time travel, then that's
Sure.
probably exactly what we're looking at.
I mean, listen, if we're going to do this, anything's on the table, right?
Well, I think he's asking someone to think that is not supposed to thrive or flourish.
I think this guy was like he's on to try and lead you in the wrong direction.
But with anyone in this podcast or at any time, just because you disagree with them or you don't like them or whatever, like what they're saying is another idea.
Yeah.
And just the fact that go Becky Tepley or whatever,
Go back later.
Atlantis,
Go Becky
the
Tepley.
possible examples of even if they're more advanced than us and still crumble, it's almost a hubris for us to think, oh, we'll just figure this out.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, first of all, there's nothing you can do as like, let's say in an extinction level event, like as humans, there's really nothing we can do.
Well, we should have been concentrating all our efforts not on war, but on building a giant dome around us to make sure that nothing can ever hit us from the sky. That should be where all humanity, as one, like, why are we fighting each other when we should be building this dome around the world?
Well, I mean, right away, the dome is a big issue because we rely on the sun for all of our energy as far as like plants are concerned.
Yeah, you've heard of see-through things, right? Transparent.
But you want this, so you think that we
Well,
should
you
build
know, when you watch Star Trek or did you see Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah.
You know that thing they build there?
Yeah,
We
that
should have
thing.
been working on that for years now.
Sure.
No, I'm being serious. Like,
What
imagine
about volcanoes? You have to let the smoke out.
I'm sure they can figure it out.
Did you see?
But if they took all the money that they've spent on military shit throughout the history of like time and took that instead and used it to try and protect the Earth, we would be somewhere by now.
Did you see Galaxy Quest?
Yeah, with
I've
Tim
seen
Allen,
it.
yeah.
In his opinion, it got it better than Star Trek.
It's the JRE movie game. The time has come again. For Matt and Simon to rack their brains to guess the budget in the box office. We all know they won't guess the year, and the Patreons are the real winners here at the JRE movie game. Come on, take it away, baby.
It's the movie game where Matt and Simon go head to head to figure out what year a movie came out, how much it cost to make, and how much it made at the box office. This week we're doing Galaxy Quest. In it, they have a thing where the planet is surrounded by like a minefield. You know, like 100 miles or thousands of miles outside, there's a whole ring of mines that would explode if something were to hit it for not to get through.
I like the ring. It's so stupid.
But it's someone
You
from
can just fly over or under it.
oh no, it'd have to be well.
Yeah,
It's
you
flat.
get it, yeah.
It's flat, so it doesn't matter. But you'd think it was the rings of Saturn, and then you fly into it and kaboom.
Okay, I'm ready.
But we really think there is no flying.
What year do you have? This is a fucking difficult one.
Starring Tim Allen, Sigourney Weaver. She looks so good in this. Alan Rickman, rest in peace. Tony Shalhoub, Sam Rockwell, and Daryl Mitchell.
I said 1998.
I said 03.
1999.
Oh my God.
Nice work, Simon. I couldn't decide whether it was pre-millennium or post.
Okay, well, I said, since it doesn't matter now, I said it cost 17 million and it grossed 50.
I said it cost 30 and it grossed 96.
That's close enough for me. $45 million is the budget and $90 million at the box office.
Nice.
It eventually achieved cult status and just was not a big hit with fans. The premise is they are washed up stars from the show Galaxy Quest doing the Comic-Con circuit, and a group of aliens who base their whole existence based on Galaxy Quest.
Yeah,
Check it out.
It's funny. I like
it.
it.
I really liked it.
Yeah.
I thought it deserved more. And Alan Rickman is an amazing actor. Remember, he was in.
Die Hard.
Thank you.
Who does Alan Rickman? Oh, he's the. Yeah, I got you. The bad guy.
And that's the movie game. So yeah, Peter Thiel. Like every topic he was engaged in, or had his own thought, whether it was a 100% disagreement with Joe's premise or other premise.
I wonder why a guy like this would agree to come on Joe. What's the upside for him to come on Rogan?
He's been on before, I'm pretty sure. And
No,
he's,
I don't believe so.
Kamar?
Just Mr. Rooney.
Well, he's friends with Weinstein.
That would be a connection.
I mean, Weinstein, he comes on to try and sell some book he's writing or whatever.
Well, this guy's nothing to
This
lose
guy's the
either, though.
richest dude in the fucking universe.
No one really knows. I don't think many people know who Peter Thiel is, so he doesn't have a lot to lose either. Like, you didn't know what Palantir was. I barely knew what Palantir was. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, no. And again, you'd think he would want it that way.
I don't know that he owns any of PayPal anymore, other than what's in his Roth IRA.
No,
So
but did you hear what I said? Wouldn't you think he would want it that way?
I don't know.
That neither of us knew what the fuck Palantir was?
I don't know.
If I was him and I was running Palantir, I wouldn't want you to know.
Yeah.
This is his first appearance. I also think this is the week
you go.
that Joe is away. I think these are all banked. I think that's part of the charm of having this. But I mean, they did talk about current events, so who knows?
You think Joe's on one of his hunting trips?
I think it might be family vacation to push her off the boat. All billionaires of this stature are bad. That's what our baseline is?
No, I don't want
Wish
to
they
believe
could be
that.
redeeming.
I think the ones that have super close ties to the government are bad. I think that's exactly what we don't want.
Is philanthropy a tell that they're worse?
Well, I think he admitted it. He
It's all his opinion. What is he?
no, I know, but it's almost like he made a mistake.
I feel like, Kamar, the problem is if you have a publicly traded company and you're a billionaire, I don't think you can be altruistic anymore.
But these are the richest guys, right? Besides the sheiks,
Yeah.
Well, that was funny what he said
Putin,
about
and some kings, some Brunei's in Thailand or wherever.
about Europe. That if you do philanthropy in Europe, they immediately think you're hiding something.
They know. It's probably a tactic kings used.
Well, it's probably what the royal family always has done. Every time some young prince fucks some underage princess from a different family or whatever,
Yeah, everyone gets cake.
So, I mean, what did you two do?
everybody gets cake. Exactly.
What did you two do? Bono's definitely killed a few African kids in his life.
Yeah, Bono spent a lot of time on Epstein Island. I think we know that.
Do you know anything?
Allegedly.
The Eleusinian mysteries?
Eleusinian?
I don't think it's called the Illusion. But that's one.
I think it's the Eleusinian mysteries.
Illumination?
Eleusinium.
Sinians.
Simium.
But there's the period of drugs and everything and
Yeah.
big advancement. And
What's his name writes about?
after that we regressed.
Well, they made it illegal. They started making anybody who used it go to jail, right? That was the idea.
And then we went to the Dark Ages.
And then we probably went into the Dark Ages, yeah.
And then we came out
And
with
then
flying colors.
we came out in like the beginning of the 60s where they were trying again. Well, it probably happens, like the whole idea with the Eleusinian,
Eleusinian.
like that's what I said, mysteries, is you would have these people who were charged with keeping it going, right? This group of like women who would travel around and try and reignite the use of drugs
Keep the party going.
to keep the truth going. And apparently there was a group that did that in the 60s because they almost had it, right? With like the hippie movement.
Yeah.
That was all people who were ready to like,
But
see the other side.
Wasn't
And
the
then it got
hippie movement created by the CIA to... Isn't that what it was?
No, I thought it was discouraged, right? Like they
They were trying to
took
paint the hippies as
they-
anti-war and dangerous to justify the war.
No, they were bringing in Manson to try and discredit the hippie movement to make it seem like they were a bunch of bloodthirsty maniacs so that
So they could have
everybody, all the people in the United States would turn on them instead of joining them.
How much more Peter Thiel do you have?
I mean, it could go on forever.
It could, but choose between Greta or Dr. Strangelove.
Greta.
I mean, obviously, Dr. Strangelove.
I think so.
Sure.
Dr. Strangelove is drill, baby, drill. Do your physics experiments.
Dr. Strangelove was a movie, right?
Yeah, but
About
the possibility that we blow everything up,
Sending off the bomb.
sending off the bomb.
Yeah. It was all the guys deciding whether they were going to drop the nuke.
And Greta Thunberg has just saved the planet. Keep these regulations in place. Don't have too
Greta
much advancement.
Thunberg is nothing. She's a little girl
No,
who
these
says
are-
don't use plastic straws.
She is nothing. She is nothing but we'll say Al Gore. Whatever side you, it's just it's a placeholder to say this is the side to be on. Advancement or, I guess not regression, but stagnation for our preservation.
The problem is we can advance without dumping shit in the ocean.
Yeah, I always thought that. Like, I don't know too much about Al Gore. I don't remember any of that shit. But like, Well, I thought he was saying like, let's stop,
his whole
killing
thing was-
polar bears.
His whole thing was we'll be underwater by now if we don't stop doing what we're doing.
Oh, so he was a little off because it'll probably be another 20 years. But
But I just feel there's a difference between polluting the ocean and controlling carbon.
Sure.
Have
the
you
problem
know-
is though is that they often get conflated into the same thing on
Yes,
both
yes,
sides.
yes.
So like you'll hear Republicans who are like, this is all just boohickey, and it's like, well, it's not. We killed the Great Barrier Reef. Like we've done.
We've been killing it.
Yeah, I know, but my point is there was a point where we probably could have stopped killing it, but we chose to just keep dumping.
we've done a ton of man-made damage.
Of course we have. I'm saying that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not denying that.
No.
My point is that
I'm
at
agreeing
any
with
point
you.
we could have stopped. We could have said, I think this is enough. We
We
can
could
do
stop,
things better.
We could turn it around. We could clean it. Again, focus a little bit of your war money on cleaning out the ocean.
Yeah.
Besides all the thoughtful pauses, I really wasn't smart enough to follow all this. I'm not going to lie. But I give it a 4.
I give it a 4.
And I'll also give it a 4. I thought it was a good episode.
We have an agreement. All right, let's rip through fucking Dennis Quaid here, and
I love Dennis Quaid.
that's wonderful. I'm
I
happy for
love
you.
Randy Quaid. Let's be real here.
Yeah, he's the best Quaid.
That
If we're being-
fucking mugshot is one of the best things of all time. His brother really went downhill because he was like doing movies with Chevy Chase. And
Yeah.
then the next thing you know, he's robbing convenience stores for meth money.
can be tough out there, man.
His brother was wild too. They used to be wild together.
Well, he's wild because he's just got a
Rehab.
for cocaine.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're wild. They
Which
were
he's the only
wild
one who
boys.
says the substance of people who say, I thought Randy Quaid might have passed
Why do you think he was on?
because he's a
Because he's selling his
conservative.
gospel.
He's
selling his gospel.
he is a Texan, he's a Texan.
It's a book he's writing.
No, he's
No,
a
he
gospel
wrote
singer.
5 gospel songs. He said, I wrote 5 gospel songs
Oh,
for
right,
sinners.
right.
He said, because I wanted to hit the biggest audience.
And everything fell apart of who I thought he was. I listened to his gospel song.
I mean, you must love him.
I don't really love him, but I loved his
Wait a minute.
movies
It was 3 seconds ago. You said, I really love Dennis Quaid.
before meeting him on this podcast.
When you knew nothing about him.
He was just a hero of mine. I love whenever
He was
in
a
a movie.
hero
No,
of
he was always
yours?
the old veteran quarterback. I just love the roles he
Name
played.
3 Dennis Quaid
Yeah, I was going to say,
films.
what has he been in?
Every Given Sunday,
Well, that's not the name of it, but close. I'll
Any
give it to
Given
you.
Sunday.
Yeah, okay.
The Right Stuff, and
He was in the right
No,
stuff.
no,
that
put
was
your
Robert
phone down. You
Redford.
put your phone down.
Wasn't it Robert Redford in the right stuff?
Doesn't matter. The point is he got one name almost wrong.
Oh, the
he
right
named a
stuff.
second
Yeah,
one.
I gotcha.
And he can't think of a third Dennis Quaid film, so he's obviously not your hero.
No,
I love him. He's
No,
just-
you don't.
he doesn't even know any movies.
This is
he's
my
been
point.
in.
He doesn't love Dennis Quaid.
He was in a baseball movie.
Kamar wants
Are you
to say.
confusing him with Kevin Costner?
Yeah, he wants to
Maybe.
say he was in Yellowstone.
Yeah.
He's really dying to say that.
He wants to say he was in Field of Dreams. That definitely wasn't the case.
Who is this guy? He was definitely in The Right Stuff.
Okay, come on.
I love that movie.
Keep going.
Politically correctness hit in the 90s.
What?
I was watching what's the thing called with now it's me doing it. Tough Crowd. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. They're talking about all the same stuff that we're talking about now.
Except trans rights.
Except maybe trans rights, but the Middle
But it was
East,
gay and
immigration, all this stuff. Dragonheart, he was in. Remember that? You guys remember that in Dragonheart? Wyatt Earp. I mean, he was in everything.
No, he was
he
not.
in everything? Because I'm pulling him up right now.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's a Trumper. But I don't think he's a Trumper. I think he's just, it's the only thing that can happen.
But he's a Trump. Well, hold on. He said he voted for Clinton, Bush, Obama, and then Trump.
Yeah.
So he's kind of, yeah.
He's all over the place. And he's playing Ronald Reagan in a new movie coming up. And I think hopefully he gets nominated for an Oscar. That'd be great.
You haven't seen the fucking movie. Also, let's stop for a second here. 'cause
Well,
this
he
is-
painted a picture of Ronald Reagan.
Stop.
Was the
because
best.
no, stop.
ever.
This is the fucking problem. And this is
don't
my
think
big.
you would know
this
one
is-
movie he was in.
This is a big problem.
Time for Bonzo.
This is a big problem of mine with Joe is that like 2 years ago, he has Killer Mike on. And Killer Mike can tell you exactly why Ronald Reagan was definitely not the best fucking president ever.
The best guy, though.
Yeah, and then this guy wants to come on and paint him as like, he was really like, he just lived on a ranch.
Well,
He
I
was a
think
normal guy. Like, he was not. He was a fucking, first of all, his whole fighting communist thing, like the war on drugs, the CIA, that was all Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan fucked over generations to come.
He did the Iran-Contra, South America. Yeah, I mean, but
He lied to the American people. He went on television and said, I can tell you definitively, we are not trading guns for people. Was that it?
I think this is right around the time where the government said to itself, we got a lot of things we need to get done. We need like a actor to just stick in there to just do whatever the fuck we want, and that's what they did. They put in Ronald Reagan, a guy who has no political experience,
An actor,
so that they can just get all this dirty shit done.
But he was really good at what he did.
On taking your eye off the prize.
He said 9 words you never want to hear. I'm with the government. I'm here to help. Like he personified it's us against the government, even though he was in the government.
Yeah, and that's my problem.
That's an amazing
his wife
politician.
was instrumental in keeping down another movement that was happening. You know what I mean?
Look, the Reagans were terrible. Trickle-down economics was fucking awful.
But he made you feel like things were good. And that's all these world leaders can
the
do.
war on drugs, just say no to
said
drugs,
that.
is all fucking Nancy Reagan.
I didn't consider that at all.
When he's bringing the drugs in, it's so hilarious. That is hilarious, eh? So Ronald Reagan is bringing in all the drugs.
Yeah, well, he's getting
right?
his wife to tell the
And then
American
on the
people we need
other
to spend
hand,
money to
they're-
fight this.
they're-
Yeah.
yeah.
But he seems like
It's a
such a nice
fucking
guy.
joke.
So
I'm
they're
telling
taking
you.
the money from selling the drugs and then taking money from fighting
double
the
dipping,
drugs.
yes.
It's insane.
Should Trump
What a racket.
Should Trump be pissed off?
Yes.
Does he have a right to be pissed off?
I think we're going to probably look. I was thinking today how, like, my favorite conspiracy type things are the ones like, what's his name? Nixon. Because we can kind of clearly see we were duped. You know what I mean? It happened in real time for us. This, not Nixon, his whole thing, like, my dad thought whatever he thought of Nixon, but that just translated into what we thought of Nixon. And then it turns out that it's not even true. That took how many years? You know what I mean? 60
30.
years, whatever. 30.
2000. I'm sure someone in the 2000s knew.
No, I'm saying when was Nixon in
70s.
1970s, and now we're 60 years later. We can clearly look back, whatever it is. We can clearly look back and say, like, okay, we thought a narrative that was wrong. In 60 years, we're going to look back and be like, oh my God, this actor decided he wanted to be president, and they made up all this. You know what I mean? It doesn't take long
if
for us.
he knows what he knows, or what even we know about, say, Nancy Pelosi, that those are the people that are trying to fuck me over.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. Wait 4 years.
And for the flip, the
No,
script to
just
flip.
just wait for the whole story to unravel before you get, because this whole, like, believe me, Donald Trump will probably get reelected, and when he does, he's going to be a way bigger asshole than he ever was.
Oh, you
and
think
he has potential to ruin the U.S. government, which is probably what he wants to do at this point. And I don't blame him. There's a lot of Republicans that want less government, and it would work. But Donald Trump is coming in this first time he came in, he didn't really know what he was doing.
What do you think Donald Trump really wants? I'm asking a serious question here. Like, if you had to guess, what do you think that guy really
I
wants?
honestly believe he wants to have America booming and everyone give him credit for it.
I think he wants to go down as the best president ever because he's an egomaniac to the nth degree. I don't think he's going to get in and punish anybody. I think he's going to get in and just try and, like, do, like Kamar
Hold on,
saying,
wait.
good things for the American people, because he wants to go down as, like, I brought the German wall down. I did something great
And
like
he
that,
could ruin
you know?
America in the
Maybe.
process.
But
Maybe.
I'm not saying Kamala's better, by the way. If she gets in, she'll ruin America
She's
100%.
People are now saying she's better, which
She's
is
I know.
just a
gaslighting.
That's just a lie.
mouthpiece for the machine.
My point is this, Simon, you're forgetting that this guy, Donald Trump, got into office. He got to hire everyone. Like, right? That's how it works.
Yeah. And
How
he
many
hi-
people did he fire, like, right off the rip?
But what if those were people who were, company
Totally
men, like the old company
compromised,
men?
yeah.
I mean, that's what you hope as an optimist.
Sure,
but
but-
maybe he's just an idiot and fired the wrong people.
Just hear me out. It's tough to say that when you get in on Drain the Swamp and then you get to choose all your own people and you immediately fire
Yeah.
a bunch of them.
Yep.
My point is just he's angry at a lot of people right now. He doesn't believe a lot of things. And there are, okay, remember I was talking about Glass-Steagall? Like there are certain things that are in effect that we don't necessarily grasp why until they're gone. And there could be someone, Trump's big thing was like, no matter who in his first term was telling him, you can't really do that, it's against the law, or like there's things in place, he didn't really want to hear that. And a lot of those people got fired. And a lot of those people were trying to stop him from doing, again, what he might think to be right. I'll put it to you this way, just because you think you're doing right, and he might be doing right, like if he got the thing through, but he's breaking the law, like the checks and balances still exist to stop him from doing that, right? Because the president can't have so much power. There's the three.
Congress passes it, then
that's right. There's the three branches of government. And if he starts trying to bypass those things because he's angry or because he feels jaded or hard done by, and I'm not saying he shouldn't feel that way, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that's a dangerous president to have at the helm.
I don't think so.
That's fine.
I don't think any president, like, I was watching this thing and it's on CNN, but it was about 68. I think it was, this is right before Nixon came in. And it was crazier than it is now. The tensions and the division in the country.
Sure.
Like way crazier. And the Vietnam War was going on, and cops were beating up students, and they
assassinated a sitting president.
And his brother.
Shut the fuck up, man. That must have been the craziest time ever.
The problem too, though, Kamar, is that Trump loves yes men. And there's a lot of dangerous Republicans that are Trump yes men.
Wow.
Like there's this one guy that's leading this pack for Trump, and he's ready to ban all abortion medication across all states. And that's
but like you say, there's checks and balances. Congress at the end of the day would have to pass that.
Trump wants to bypass that as well.
Well, and I guess if you put enough people on the Supreme Court, that was always the big concern with Trump, right? Like, what can he really do? He put 3 people on the Supreme Court. Yeah. So
and in 4 more years, there's a good chance he gets at least 1 more.
See, and you would love it if this guy could literally just go in there and like you said you're going to drain the swamp. Just drain the fucking swamp. Why do you have to become a lily pad?
I think what's crazy, this has had to have happened before, but if Trump gets elected, he could only be there for 4 years.
Correct.
If Kamala gets elected, they could be there for 12 years. Because she would get 8 years.
She will get 8.
And then her vice president, they will be the dominant party in power if...
That's 14 years, first of all.
Well, what do you mean? What are you even talking about? She gets 8 years,
Yeah.
just like Donald Trump gets 8 years.
But he didn't. He lost, and now he's trying again.
Yeah, but what's the 2 year? Where's the extra 2 years?
Yeah, you're saying she gets 10 years?
Technically,
No, she would
she
be
gets an
there.
extra 9 months because she's
She's
quasi-president
in-
right
that's
now,
right.
you mean, right?
Yeah, until the election.
If she wins the election,
It's exactly
and
like
she
the-
does a good job, then it'll be, she'll win again. That'd be 8 years. If they're still doing a good job, you have more power as president, I imagine.
Well, but Trump's VP has the same possibility. So Trump then, by your logic, has
8 years.
8 years. I mean,
No, but that's how it's always worked,
this
regardless,
is
right?
silly.
But I just think that,
Like George Bush Sr. was the vice
It's
president
the
of...
same for everybody.
but none of us understand how Joe Biden got voted in.
No, I totally understand. how
And
he
then
got
everyone
voted
just
in.
doesn't like him anymore.
No, they liked him for a long time. Yeah.
No,
And
Kamar, I
then
think
they
you're
made
missing...
him look bad in that debate.
Well, no, it's not just
They
that. It's
sent
that
him out to the lambs.
if
or
you
to
are
the lions.
if you are a normal person and you voted for Joe Biden, thinking like, I don't want Trump in, so I'll go with the lesser of the two evils. There's no way that 3 years later you were looking at that guy going, this is the same guy I voted for. I think that's the no one with... You can't be like a realistic person and say, this is the same guy I voted for. It's impossible.
And so they were like, well, I've got to vote for Trump. And then they're like, no, Kamala's going to run. They're like, well, you know what? I could vote for her.
Hold on. I mean, I truly believe this. If Biden is not totally senile, he would have had he would have had a better chance than Kamala winning.
Yeah.
It was somewhat coherent.
They were going to run him through again. They would probably win again.
Yeah, I don't think the Democrats' plan involved him being like fully Alzheimer's.
And so what's
I
wild?
think they had to discredit him because he was so far gone. You know, like they ran him too long.
What is
they should have
wild-
put in a new candidate instead of trying, but they obviously thought they could get him through again.
is Kamala is saying, if you elect me president, I'll do this. Like she could do stuff right now.
If you elect me president right now, I'll do things.
Yeah, but I mean,
before
hold
the
on.
election.
Trump said he was going to build a wall the second he was elected. He had 4 years. He did not build a wall.
No,
So
I mean,
empty. But just hear me
promises are
out.
broken.
Empty election promises are as old as elections,
Well,
right?
she's-
But he
he's not
wasn't
saying
president.
empty. He's saying she now has 9 months as a bonus time to
it's
do.
the same thing as Trump saying, "I'll build a wall." He could have started in his last 5 days. He could have started on his first 5 days.
He tried to build a wall. He tried. He just didn't build it.
Okay,
The things she's saying she could do right now.
but you don't know that for a fact. You
Well,
know
we
that.
know she is the de facto president.
No,
could
but
say
she
that,
really can't do shit except launch the nuke.
I'm going to ask Joe Biden to do this.
Come on, my
no,
point
no, no.
is
What is she going to do?
There
what
some
can she
sort
do?
of
talking about
tax
the
credit
tips.
for families.
getting rid of tips
His
on
plan for
taxes
tips.
for exact.
The president can do that.
Well, this is what
Without
I'm
it
saying.
going to like any sort of.
This is my point. Is
Congress or-
you're saying she can do that because Dennis Quaid said she can do that. None of us know for a fact that overnight she could just.
That
Bills.
doesn't sound right.
How about this?
It has to clear Congress. It has to be a bill.
We're having an election here in Canada in 13 months or something.
Sure.
October 24th or something like that. In the campaign, it'll be very short, nothing like this drawn out American thing, but Trudeau will be saying, I will do this if you reelect me. And who's looking at him go, well, why haven't you done that? Or why are we here after you've been here, right?
Are you asking me if I think he'll be reelected
Well,
based on his
it's
bullshit
exactly-
promises?
She's been there. Why hasn't she done any of this stuff?
That's right. She was vice president.
Well, hold on. But to say she's been there, like the vice president doesn't have the power that the president does. You realize that, right? Like
Well,
most
no,
vice,
but you could say, Mr. President, this is a really good idea. You should do this. I mean, that's what you'd hope someone
And
would
if he really was as like out of it,
do. It'd be even easier.
theoretically, she would be.
Joe,
Sure.
remember you talking about the tax child credit? Whatever.
I just think you're doing this thing where she now officially has the president thing on her door, and I just don't think
She does.
she does not.
She does not.
She is not the
He's
president of the
president.
United States. Joe Biden is the
whole
president of the
thing-
United
The
States.
whole thing is also like
Joe
convoluted.
Biden is still the president of the United States.
He has not stepped down. He has not relinquished the title. He is still the president of the United States. He is not running for re-election anymore. He is not the candidate that they are going for. But he is still the president of the U.S. right now as we speak.
So, okay. So if there was a nuclear war,
Yeah, that's still
somebody
the guy.
shots it,
That's
it's
still
still
the guy,
him who
yeah.
makes it. That's insane.
Yep.
They're running a fucking real fucking flea circus over there, right?
It's not great, I'll tell you that.
Joe always asks who is answering these polls.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure there are people who register
Just to
for
answer
whichever
polls.
political party. No, they're a registered Democrat or a registered Republican, and they expect to be polled.
Well, and don't you
I
ever
don't think
get
it's just random.
a call asking you questions? That's like a poll.
Not about politics. I understand the
Census.
census. Yeah, that's just about demographics. Maybe they talk about politics.
No, but they could easily ask you about anything they want to do. That's what I'm saying. It's not hard to poll people. You
But
just phone them.
I don't think it's just random. I think you have to be registered with either political affiliation, and that's who they tap.
It's
as
not
their-
just random people,
Yes,
is what
exactly.
you're saying.
What Simon's saying, though, is there are random polls, which is why you get a random phone call saying, can I get 5 minutes of your time?
And I was also just pointing out it's not hard to poll people. Like, it's not that big a deal.
Just need someone willing to talk to you.
Well, again, it's a numbers game. You're going to phone 10 people and one person is going to do your stupid survey, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
They just have machines that do it. It's like, anyways, whatever. Doesn't matter.
Is it weird that there's not as much interest in the Trump assassination, or will it be like a JFK thing in 20 years?
Well, he survived.
No, I think it's fucking insane that there's nobody talking about this. I'm so shocked by the whole thing.
And there are two schools. There's a group of people, for right or wrong, think it's he should have gotten shot. It would be the best thing for everybody.
That's
I haven't heard a lot of
insane.
people say that, but okay.
I've heard a bunch of people
And
say
there's
that.
people who say him not being shot is the best thing for everything.
Yeah.
I
I think him not being
don't
shot
know
was
what
the
I
best
don't know
outcome.
to think that other way, but I really think we dodged a bullet, to excuse the pun.
Can I give you just to push back on what you're saying? When the news was far different when any other political candidate in the U.S. was shot.
What you knew about it at the time.
No. Just in general, the way the news wasn't as segregated. You didn't have CNN and Fox. Like when Reagan was shot, the news was, or at least we believed
Less
it to
bias.
be less biased, right? So all sides of the news would cover it because a presidential candidate got shot. Now we live in this world where it's like CNN won't cover it at all, almost, and Fox is just running that 24/7. Right? Is that?
But no, what I think we think is Kennedy got shot. Jack Ruby killed Lee Harvey Oswald, and the general people were like, "Well, that's crazy how that happened," and moved on. There was no who else. It was for sure Lee Harvey Oswald killed the president.
Yeah. They had a thing.
And Jack Ruby loved Kennedy, and almost a crime of passion, wanted to avenge the president he purportedly adored, and that was the story. Like the truth is crazier than fiction, and then we find out on Geraldo so many years later. But that none of that will happen with what happened with this.
What do you mean?
Assassination attempt.
I think we're going to find
Hold on,
out.
wait a minute. Back up. This is where you're wrong. That just happened. There are, not on the mainstream, but there's a lot of people talking about conspiracies surrounding it. Like Joe was talking about it.
The more I watch the internet, I think it was a false flag almost.
I really think it was like the kid they convinced with the bomb, and it was 15
But could
FBI agents.
Could he have?
That would make total sense.
Could he have had blanks in his gun?
No, because somebody was killed.
But could someone have killed that person?
I mean, I guess that's possible.
You just can't trust anything.
But wouldn't this make sense?
But hold on,
They
I don't
convinced him to go up and take a shot at the president. It's super fucking easy, and they let him walk in.
That's
and
what you
they
think
do
happened.
it. And there were other people telling him exactly what to
And
do.
it might have been the FBI or the CIA.
And he missed, I guess. And
Powers
I guess
that
we
be
could
in
just
the government wanted to kill Donald Trump.
That's correct.
That's crazy.
The same way they killed JFK, the same way they killed RFK. Why they tried to kill Reagan, I don't understand at all. Like, to me, that always doesn't that seem
maybe it was
like
just a practice
that
run.
might have just been a totally different thing.
Why can't this just be some demented fuck who tried to shoot Trump?
It can, but I don't know, man. I just for a fact that the other side wants him dead. That's how much they hate him.
Here's the thing. If you want to say the deep state were more likely to do it than like the other side, again, the CIA seems like, but I just don't get it. They missed.
Yeah, the deep state. Fine. Well, that's why I'm saying it. It couldn't have been like a real agent there, because you don't miss that shot. Like, it has to be some dumb kid who doesn't really know what he's doing.
But he was close enough.
Listen, I don't understand it, Matt. I don't fucking get it. How do you miss? But they missed Reagan too. Like, it all seems exactly the same.
No,
They're
I mean,
both
Joe said-
actors.
listen.
They're both getting shot at.
Hold on. Joe said it too. Like, dude, if
WWE.
you don't know that you could fucking make that shot.
Me?
Yeah.
No, I don't know I could make it.
But why? So why is this 21-year-old more likely to make the shot?
No.
Because you were like, how did he miss?
I'm saying if you're an FBI agent,
Well, he wasn't
how
an
do you
FBI agent.
No, I know. So I'm saying he was some dumb kid. I don't think he was just on his own. He doesn't get to walk in there if there aren't people looking the other way for him. It doesn't make any sense.
I told you, it's an open carry state. It's still
No,
listen,
you don't walk into those Trump things with guns.
are you crazy? I guarantee you, if you pull up any open state Trump rally, I guarantee you there's people open carrying all over the place.
There's no way that you go to a Trump rally and you have a gun on you. I think that's
Oh no, I
wildly
think that's a common
impossible.
thing.
Thank you.
Maybe not allowed into the area though.
I'm not saying that in your state you can't carry a gun.
I know
around.
you're not.
I'm saying if you're going into the arena, the same way in Cary City, I don't think you can go to the arenas
You
with
can't go
your
watch a
guns.
football
You can't
game,
watch
yeah.
a football game with your
Can't go see the
guns.
But they're not
Steelers
all
with
at
the
arenas.
AR-15.
Some of them are outdoors. Like, this is my point. This one was outdoors. It was not at an arena. It was like in a park where you're fully within your rights to open carry. That's all I'm
Trump
saying.
was just doing a random speech in a park.
He does a lot of them. All of these presidential things are a lot of them are done outside.
No, usually they're in like contained type areas because they
lot
want to
of-
make sure that people don't try and assassinate him.
A lot of them are outside. Mark my words. I would bet 50% of them are outside.
Not anymore.
Maybe 33%.
Well, it seems a little short-sighted.
I mean, the real question is like the lack security that he was given. I think that's more.
I'm surprised they give him any security. They don't give it to RFK.
Well, he's an ex-president. They don't have a choice.
That's right,
There's
yeah.
no.
Yeah.
He will get it for the rest of his living
would have
life.
taken it away if they could have, I'm sure.
Instead, they gave him 7 women.
What's his name?
Dennis Quaid.
Dennis Quaid. I didn't listen to this episode and was like, this is my guy. I need to watch some of his movies. Like, I'm going to buy his Bible songs.
I think he represents a
boring.
silent majority of Hollywood. And he reminds me of Hollywood, but I guess he's not as successful.
Who support Trump? That's the silent minority.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's such a
I don't think it's a support Trump thing.
I don't think it's such a taboo anymore, is it, to support Trump?
Well,
not like the first time.
He accidentally criticized Richard Dreyfuss, but there is that sort of thing like just shut up and play, or shut up and act. That we wonder why certain people have, and Hollywood mostly is.
But I'm not
if
going to
you-
lie. Growing up, like, or just even in my 20s, I always preferred that out of my celebrities. I didn't want to hear your fucking bullshit.
I'm
politics.
100% with you, but if you're willing to say, if you're a celebrity and you're willing to say, I don't give a fuck about my career, I want to speak my mind, good on you. You know what I mean? Like, that's fine because
fine, yeah. Well, it's a
you're
free-
willing to
it's
give
free
up
speech. I
all
don't
your
care.
money
Yeah.
so you can speak your mind. Fine. That's what you should do.
Yeah.
And for that reason, I give this a 4.
I give it a
I
2.
wish I had a glove so I could take it off and smack you in the face with it.
I give it a 2.
I'm going to mimic. No, I got to go even lower than that. I'm going to give it a 1.5.
All right. Well, there you have it. We're going to take a break. We're going to pay a bill, and we'll be right back. We're back. Thank you, probably to BetterHelp. Come on, name and a number.
2187. Shooby dooby doo, the Sandman, Adam Sandler. Not a hero of you guys? Comedic hero? Like when you talk about
love Adam
Tom
Sandler,
Green.
but like I just didn't have the same visceral reaction that you did to him being on the podcast.
First time you heard of Adam Sandler?
The first time I
Saturday
ever
Night
heard
Live.
of him.
Saturday Night Live. The first time I heard him, I remember I was tree planting and it was a recording, a bunch of skits.
Yeah, the
audio.
album.
Yeah.
That was-
the
but that-
with,
hold
with
on.
the goat.
With the goat.
Yeah. And the Toll Booth Willie.
Yeah.
You and your lesbian
Yeah,
That was the
fish
same
eating
time
friends.
as SNL.
Yeah, because all the guys from SNL were on it. Like David Spade's on that album.
Yeah,
Chris Rock's on
was
that album.
right around the same time.
Yeah.
He had just gotten famous from SNL, Opera Man, and
Because I don't think I knew of his stand up till after he was.
In the early 90s, I watched every SNL. Every Saturday, I was like at the TV. It was like my mom's like, you can stay up late night. Like that was like my fucking jam. That was also, in my opinion, and again, because I wasn't born in the 70s, that was like the best SNL cast crew time ever. Mike Myers, Chris Farley, David Spade, Adam Sandler. Did I say Chris Rock? Whatever. That whole fucking oof.
yeah, no, it was
That was a mean lineup. Mean lineup. But yeah, that was my first. And then Happy Gilmore came out in like what, 98 or something, 97?
And you're dying to see Happy Gilmore too.
No.
when I saw Happy Gilmore for the first time. Oh my god, that was one
so
of
funny.
those. Yeah, that was one of those like.
I think I killed the Misa Misa lady.
Like I remember watching Ace Ventura for the first time and not knowing what to do with myself.
Yeah, so
because
funny.
I couldn't stop laughing. Like one joke, by the time you stop belly laughing from the first one, it led into the next one. And that's what all of Adam Sandler's like movies were like when I was a kid.
Do you remember who the love interest is in Ace Ventura?
The love interest, yes, is Friends girl. Is that right? Yeah.
Courtney Cox. Do
Courtney
you remember who the
Cox.
love interest is in Happy Gilmore?
Is not. Is it Courtney Cox? No,
No.
it's not. It's a blonde
Isn't
woman.
she the mom from Modern Family?
Yep.
Oh, it is. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Happy Lookout!
My favorite of all those Adam Sandler movies as a kid was Billy Madison. That was my.
Which
Doyle rules.
Which was stolen by Rodney Dangerfield.
Which was
No, he
stolen
stole.
from Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah.
Which he told us, which I just can't say enough. Sorry, I hate to do this. I forgot to mention in the Dennis Quaid episode,
Oh, God.
they were talking about immigration. And Joe mentioned how Ari Mate is struggling to get a green card.
Yeah. That's what Americans want, by the way. It's funny that Joe does that. Like, Americans want the whole idea is it's not easy to get a green card. It's a
Yes,
very
it's
long
challenges.
process. It's the idea is that not everyone can come and be an American.
But it should be.
No, but if you're famous working in America, you should get an automatic green.
No, I think if the more money you have, the quicker you can get stuff done.
There you go.
But you would argue that like if Joe really cared, he would just
Get him a green card.
you
Well, that's
you
what we
know the
assume.
governor of Texas. Like I'm sure you can fucking green light
That's
this
what we
thing.
would assume.
I do
Well,
assume that.
The whole gag on Kill Tony is like they have to make him famous
Yeah.
before his visa runs out.
And as I said, I wish I'd known more about that. I find that interesting.
I don't think people outside of America realize the struggle for like we're Canadian, and the struggle for us to get a green card is like for example, if you're in the States and you're trying to get a green card, you can't come home.
That there's a commitment you have to make.
There is no coming home. So until you get that green card, you are there, and that's fucking that. And if you come home, you're not getting the green card. It's as easy as that. That's not an easy. Like I don't think that's a. It seems a bit egregious to me. I get it. You're trying to make it tough, but like it's crazy.
I mean, unless you have the means.
What do you mean? No, you can't leave.
I know, but if you have some financial means that you can live off of,
Oh yeah, okay,
versus
sure.
having
Yes.
to
Yeah,
make sure you stay afloat and have a life there.
What's crazy too is like I watch or I used to watch 90 Day Fiance.
Yeah.
So that's like if you're an American
get it,
citizen
yeah.
and you want to bring over your
Mail
like-
order bride.
Yeah. So you don't know when it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It just goes on for however long before you even get to bring them over. Then you bring them over 90 days and you have to decide that you're going to marry them. So at the end of that 90 days, if you don't marry them,
They're
all
gone.
deals are off.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a very weird way. You know what I mean? It's very odd.
I saw the best clip from 90 Day Fiance the other day. The guy with the giant no neck
Oh,
walks
the
in.
no neck is insane.
Dude, the no neck walks in and he's saying hi to everyone and like everyone's giving him a hug. And then he goes up to this one chick and she goes, "Sorry, I don't give hugs." And he's like, oh, "Okay." Without missing a beat, this guy at the other end of the table goes, "She hugged me 5 minutes ago." I was like, fuck, that's ruthless. That is brutal. Just brutal. I'd crawl in a hole and die.
Dude, that poor guy with the no neck. Like, some of them are so funny, dude, because it's like a smoke show from Russia.
Yeah, dating
With
just
like,
a midget.
well,
just the worst
dating-
kind of American.
Dating no neck. Like, and you're like, you think that at the end of this
Yeah, she's-
90 days.
Yeah, she's gone, buddy. Sorry, Kumar, go ahead.
I was concerned at the very beginning that this was going to
Devolve.
devolve into workout and stay in shape sort of thing because Adam clearly struggles with being like Joe.
He wouldn't have it.
It didn't happen. There was a lot of talking about comedy,
This was all shop talk.
a lot of shop talk, which I love.
The thing I sent Kamar. Oh, what did I send you, Kamar? Something about the downfall of Joe Rogan, but I watched
Yes,
another
yes,
one
yes,
where it was
Wow, Simon's at the point where he's watching Joe hate videos. This
It was Joe Rogan.
Burn the Boat is a funeral for Joe Rogan's career.
Oh, I saw that one too.
You did? It's really good.
Sorry, I only watched the first 10 minutes of it. Mary was in the room and she was like, I don't want to watch this, so I had to stop. But
you should watch the whole thing because it was like it really like echoed some of the things I was feeling, and it makes me feel good sometimes. Not like I wish
Makes
the best.
everyone feel good when
for-
they hear something that confirms their
Yes, exactly.
confirmation bias.
Exactly.
At its best.
I'm
You are
in
not
need
alone.
of a good echo chamber every once in a while.
let me ask you, okay, so you didn't like Burn the Boats. Does it bother you that other people liked it?
Yeah, it enrages me because I feel like they're being phony
now
baloney.
Now we've reached the point. Okay.
I feel like the like really what should happen is Joe should say, "This isn't my best work," like to us, to his fans. You know what I mean? Just like it was really stressful to do it live. I had to at some points. I had jokes that I couldn't remember, and I bailed and did jokes from 10 years ago to fill the gaps. And I would be so fine with that. Do you know what I mean? If he came forth and said, "Look, I worked on this for 6 years. I overworked it. Obviously, I made it too hack because it became too far away from what it originally started as." I would respect that so much. But this whole Brendan Schaubing it, where you're like, just put your head down and pretend everything's okay, and then everybody around you, because they don't want to hurt your feelings or are afraid that you're gonna like blackball them at your comedy thing. So you're never gonna get a true response from it. So we rely on videos like this to.
It feels like a sports fan complaining about their quarterback not playing up to scruff or something.
I mean, listen, I didn't watch the whole.
It really is hard.
I didn't. Oh, I know. That's why I didn't come on here and shit on him. People liked it. I didn't. That's fine. The reason, Simon, I didn't watch the whole thing. What I found interesting was in that first few minutes when he was like, Joe reluctantly brought it up on the podcast. That had never that didn't dawn on me at all.
He very reluctantly brought it up on the podcast.
But
listen, again, the way
before it was filmed.
Yeah, because I think he was afraid to.
Well, something's going to happen, but who knows?
But
he was over prepared so much. Like, I don't know.
You didn't get to the part where the guy said like that's why he did the jokes, the old jokes. It never occurred to me why he did.
No,
those
I didn't get
old
to that
jokes.
part. No,
but it totally makes sense, right? Like you're live and they didn't laugh at the joke before, and then you forget the next thing that's coming up because you're flustered, so you just reach into your.
No, I just don't like Kamar.
Well, why on earth would he have done
hear
it?
me out. Hear me out. Kamar can attest to this more than I can. But like Kamar, you're 10 years in. Do you think that if you had 20 more years under your belt, if you were doing a special, if one joke didn't go your way, that you'd immediately like pull the chute and go?
I could see, because when you start a joke, it starts you sort of have a sequence that you do stuff in.
Yeah.
So if you made that one change, you might just lock into like, well, it's going, and keep it going. Versus completely stopping that and then going back to what you're doing.
He does a joke in that set that's from like, they break it down in this video. He does this joke from that set from like 10, 15 years ago.
Okay.
It doesn't even make sense why he would be doing those jokes. He also is a guy, I'm sorry, just to be playing devil's advocate here. He's a guy who preaches
New material.
always new material, never recycling jokes. Like that's been what Joe has said for years.
I think every comedian says that.
So it just doesn't make, and he has 6 years to work on it, Matt. It doesn't make sense. Why would you do jokes you had done before? So again, if he came out and said, this is what I would, like, I want to give Joe the break. I want him to say, I'm going to come back with something that's going to knock your fucking socks off. But this ain't it.
Okay, may I?
Please.
If 3 months from now he does that, will that be good enough?
Yep.
And just hear me out, because
He's on the clock.
Because it is a Netflix special that that they have given him money for. So for him to 2 days after or a week after come out and say, you get what I'm saying, right? He can't shit on it early in the game.
I totally understand, Matt.
That's all.
And I would think that too, but you want to know why that'll never happen?
Please.
Because Joe apparently doesn't watch any reviews, and all his peers, the people he trusts, are coming on and blowing smoke up his ass.
I'm sure
because
off camera
too
it might
afraid.
not be like that.
No way, man. There's
Well, I
no
disagree
way.
with you. Joe is on the internet. Joe does see what people see.
Well,
saying.
then maybe he will, but I don't think he's going to. And look, we'll just go on.
You're
Joey Diaz in his review said it was not the best thing he's seen Joe do. So that's the indictment you're looking for.
And I'll
Oh,
give
really? Joey said that on his podcast? Wow.
I'll give Joe all the credit.
And that's a
in-
very nice way too, right?
That's what I'm
of course,
saying.
yeah.
So it's out there, but you don't publicly shit on stuff. And it's a habit that we see time and time again from successful people.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie, Simon. Like, last week or the day after we watched it when we came in here, and Kamar was like, I don't want to spend a lot of time doing this. From his standpoint, like, he knows that it's not easy. And I know that we, the public, can sit there and say, I couldn't do that. In our defense, Kamar, I think that the normal thing people do is to comment or criticize. Like if you see a film, for example, tonight, if you went and saw a movie, you went and saw Deadpool versus Wolverine, if you left and said, I really didn't like that movie, and then you told 10 friends, I didn't really like that movie, I don't think you're like shitting on someone's career or it's just, I didn't like that one project and I'm still a fan.
I think people also sort of take pride in their taste.
Sure. Like, again, like I sat here and said, I didn't like Burn the Boats. I'm no longer a Joe fan. I'm not like cutting him. I still listen to the show.
The biggest indictment I've seen of Joe is the clips of people on his show saying, as long as you don't do a stool joke. No fucking the stool, and then they go to clip like, all the times Joe's been on the stool and sort of, well, it can be done right if it's tasteful.
What's his name really felt like he knew from Curb.
I mean, no one.
He has a whole clip where he's talking about people who use prop.
Jeff
stools.
Garland?
Yeah.
I don't love Jeff
Yeah, I know you don't.
I mean, I bet somewhere Owen Benjamin is smiling ear to ear.
because
I'll just say
that's
that.
what you,
Because I'm sure Owen Benjamin watched it, and I'm sure he was like,
I could do that.
I'm sure he was like, a lot of people could do that.
So yeah, what I was gonna say was I'll give Joe all the credit in the world. I agree. Doing something like this live must have been really fucking hard and totally not needed by civilization.
I think
so
he made
it's like he went out of his way to do something really hard that nobody gives a fuck about. You know what I mean?
I still want to know. I want to know, because I haven't gone and checked. Did they re-release an edited version? Was there 3 shows? Like I said, like did he do the night before 2 shows? Because I kind of got the vibe from, I don't remember who he was talking to this week, but I kind of got the vibe, I think it was Sandler, that he really just did the one show.
They talked about it in one of the episodes. He said they did 3 shows or whatever.
Okay, so I was right. Then
Yeah.
they did. See, then none of it makes sense.
But he said for this one, I went over my notes 40 times, and maybe he did overthink it. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt as a comedian anyways.
Listen,
Well, hopefully one day he'll tell us exactly what happened, and maybe we'll see.
either way, Joe is uncancelable, and it's not the end of a career. Like, you have one not great special. It's not, who cares?
No, but you know what isn't
But
good?
for haters, it is.
Sure.
You know what? It doesn't matter. I think it's good when people call other comedians call each other in comedy. It keeps the whole thing a lot more honest.
I think there's a
and
lot
once-
more said off podcast.
And once you start having like these hierarchies and monarchies of comedy, we're going to end up with like old Hollywood again, you know?
The problem, though, is like after Joe's special, he took all these photos, and he seemed very happy. Like, it didn't seem like someone who was like, oh, man, I really...
As Adam Sandler said, he was young and wanted to be famous, didn't know why he should be famous. Did you ever think you wanted to be famous? And he said initially it was to be a rock star. And then he fell into comedy and be a movie star. But
Oh, growing up, I thought
I
I was going
always
to be a
wanted
rock star,
yeah,
for sure.
for sure.
100%.
I never wanted to be famous.
You know what's funny, though, is
man.
I was one of those people that was like, I'm going to be a rock star, and then put zero effort into learning anything about music.
Oh, yeah, you didn't see the process part.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I always wanted to be part of a band, but I couldn't play anything.
No, dude, we started a band in grade 8. We came up with a name. We started writing songs.
What was the name?
Innuendo. Didn't matter. None of us.
Terrible name.
None of it. It's a great name.
First band.
you kidding?
First band. You
This
break
is in
up.
the
and start
Nirvana
again.
era. Innuendo is a fucking great one. You know how we got there? We just opened up the dictionary and someone threw their finger down, and innuendo was it.
Amazing.
Yeah, none of us could play an instrument.
Yeah,
Not an instrument amongst the group. Yeah.
Technology had to catch up
4
with
lead
you.
So
singers.
you were all lead singers. That's interesting.
Exactly. Just 4 guys singing into one mic.
That's interesting.
Remember when they talked about bombing, sucking dick in front of your mom?
Oh
Yeah.
my God, I saw a compilation. Did you see that?
Of people sucking dick in front of their mothers?
No, of Joe telling that exact same clip,
No.
sucking dick and bombing.
But
It's literally a half hour.
Adam Sandler's was the best reply when he goes to his mother
Yeah.
saying, "Oh, Adam, I think you give that gentleman a little
Well,
more."
that's what they said in this video too. They said Joe has been workshopping that same joke for whatever, like 12 years now. And Adam Sandler made it better in 1 minute.
Didn't you feel that? But I thought that was writing and collaboration. I mean, it just, you can see it's a subtle genius of Adam Sandler.
You should suck his dick. Why aren't you sucking his dick? You said you were gonna. You should go get him. Go get him and tell him you're gonna do
Or
it.
when he was attempting to be a rock star and he was bummed that no one cares about the overalls. Like that sort of, you're so self-conscious, again, putting the aesthetic before the talent or the substance.
I like how he said he just would do the comedy and be like, yeah, I did amazing.
I'm telling
You
you.
know what I mean? He just felt like he was really good.
I heard someone talking this
I've
week.
been doing that for
Terrible.
years.
Yeah, well, we know.
I heard someone talking this week about how they were like, I used to spend a lot of time in rooms with like really rich people, like, you know, millionaires. Just the whole room was filled with millionaires. And he's like, I realized really quickly, most of them are not that bright. And he's like, what I realized was they all got rich because they lacked that thing inside you that's like, I can't do this. All they have is like just pure ego driven, not even ego. He didn't say ego, but that whole idea of like, I'm just going to do this because I can't fail. And he was like, I think a lot of people, their problem is they never start or try because they're too in their head.
Well, that's interesting.
My also theory, though, is that
My also theory.
whatever that is
That's the name of my band.
is full as you're young. If you don't tap into it, it eventually sort of decreases and you become, well, there's no way I could do this. I'd be insane to think I could do this. And it's
My
brutal
biggest,
reality.
one of my biggest regrets is, and it's only because I wasn't like as into it as I am now. Like in New York, I could have easily gone to the cellar and
the scene.
No, not done stand up, just flyered, just to be around the scene.
the
I
scene, yeah.
had enough like spare time where I could have gone down there and been like, I'll do this for free. I'm Canadian.
But you didn't know.
No, but I mean, again, like I don't know. This is my point. Like I wish if I was even a little bit more into stand up, then I would have known.
When we went there, though, we could have gone, and we wanted to go to a comedy club. We went to that place, the Ha Cafe or something, right down on Times Square. It was horrible. The comedians were horrible. We didn't even think about going to.
I just didn't even know. I wasn't thinking.
I'm because your information access was just not there.
We didn't
But
have
even
the
then-
internet.
I'm just saying, don't blame yourself.
No, I know, but Kamar, like, here's another thing. Like,
No, he should. He lived in New York
shame
City.
on you. Shame on you, piece of shit.
Kamar, I spent 9 months chasing after places I had heard of in hip hop. You get what I'm saying? Like, oh, that's where
As a
this.
tourist,
Yeah, because that's what I was
a
into.
hip hop historian.
Like, I went to the cellar my last week in New York.
Oh, this would have been fun.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why you don't go.
Precisely.
That's why
What
don't
did
go
you
to
do with all
places.
those spots? And you should have made like a coffee table book
I didn't have a camera at the time.
of pictures of all the spots in the hip hop. That's a great idea.
This is pre-iPhone as well.
I guess
great
Joe
idea.
has said this before, but they were talking about your first deal, and Joe did that HBO half hour. I've seen it; it's really good for how new he is. It's sort of frat boy, but it's still really funny, and his performance is really good. So he's clearly talented.
Really funny.
He talks about the it's better to date a dumb girl than a smart girl. It's all sexual and just like, but it's funny. He kills.
He kills.
It's 5 minutes on HBO.
Look, Simon, I told you.
Okay.
I mean, you've seen Joe. I went to the Comedy Store, not expecting to see Joe, and if I was going to see him, not expecting to like it very much because I hadn't loved many of his specials. Dude, he did a half hour and he killed. I thought it was fucking hilarious.
But to finish the thought, he was offered like $500 to get locked up by
Disney.
MTV or Disney.
Oh no, I think it was MTV. You're right.
MTV, and his manager says, "Don't do that," and turn $500 into something like $250,000, which is why I think he gave Richmond, north of Richmond, the advice.
Technically, his agent saved him the $500 million that he's worth right
Yes,
now.
yes, that's
not
all-
the 250 grand that you
Well,
mentioned.
That's just the tip of the iceberg. But and I think he is still with her today, and that's a huge part of the piece. Don't answer any phone calls, she says, and comes back with a deal. It is true that
Sounds like a handler if I've ever heard one.
It's true though. It's like
Like,
a lawyer.
I-
Any good lawyer will be like, "Don't say shit."
I gotta
I've
go.
got this."
I gotta go back to my higher ups at the CIA and find out what the max spend they want to do on this kid is. What they think the upside of Joe Rogan is for the future.
I'm telling you, I really think you think the CIA is smarter than they are. Like you think, I love that you think the CIA is like, what kid from Southie can we find and like prop up? I don't think it's that.
Oh, you know what, Matt? Laurel Canyon. That's
Yeah.
all I gotta say.
Again, I think that's all. Just,
Winds of change.
Okay.
That's all I've got to say. These are the most like nefarious types of operations you've ever heard of. It's crazy. It's crazy. I think that there is one group within the CIA, whatever, and they're just really good at what they do. And they've been shaping history as we know it. And we don't find out until like 50 years after the fact.
Well, back to comedy. They mentioned something that I've seen, like the psychology of comedy. When you have a thought before you're going on stage,
yeah.
or an hour before it's a new joke and you try it out, it almost always bombs, even though you think it's. And they both admitted to it happening.
You know why it bombs?
I think it bombs because most of your act, you do it. And you have an idea of the timing and the
everything is
tone and
prepared.
everything. And you think you can just transfer that onto this brand new thought. And it may eventually work out, but it's a weird psychology that.
You know what Joe didn't ask Adam Sandler? What his favorite movie he's ever made was.
He made
I'd be really interested to know that.
Happy Gilmore.
You think so?
No.
That's what I think.
He'd go uncut. He'd go something serious.
No.
All of them go
comedy movie.
Okay,
I'd like to
sorry.
know. I think it would be Zohan.
I don't think it would.
No, you think Happy Gilmore?
I think so.
Or sorry, Happy Gilmore. Did you like The Water Boy?
I did.
Yeah.
Bobby Boucher.
I don't think I'd like it if I saw it
Did
today.
you like Little Nicky? That was
No.
the only one
I got
Joe
through it.
didn't
I
watch.
got through
It wasn't great. I didn't like his voice in it, so it made it hard to watch.
And
the movie.
there was something about the same characters in every movie that was starting to get almost tired.
And what else was there? What was another big one he did back then?
Mr. Deeds.
That was okay.
What's the huge one is where he adopts the kid. That was a huge movie.
Oh, with Jon Stewart.
Where he adopts the kid.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that
Shot in
one's
Toronto.
That one's so funny.
It's huge. It was a huge movie.
Fuck is the name of that movie?
Yeah, what is the name of that? Little.
I was-
No, that's Nicky. That's Little Nicky. The
Something
devil
with
one.
boy, our boy, little boy. No.
Hold on, we're gonna get there, guys.
Oh, you don't want me to check?
No,
Okay.
We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. It's an Adam Sandler movie. It was about
Kid
him
has a
adopting
little
the kid.
scuba
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah, that's right. The scuba man he loves so much. Adam Sandler
got
dresses up
eczema.
as
Big Daddy.
Big
Big
Daddy.
Daddy. I
Did
said
you
little
look
bo-
at it?
I know
I
he
didn't get
didn't.
there, I didn't get
I said little boy.
Little boy. Total
That's the
opposite.
opposite end.
Yeah, there we go.
We know what's on Matt's mind. Little boys.
Yes, Simon.
Yeah.
That's not a
Big-
joke if you lead them. Here, I'm going to splash the water up at your face for you.
You can lead a horse to drink, Matt, but you can't make him think.
It was also an insightful thing that it's not fun to do stuff by yourself.
No.
And that's a big problem. Like, even if you are tasting success, but you're just calling back, oh, I wish you could be here or something, which is a weird thing.
Well, it's like, think about it. If you, let's say tomorrow you became internet famous and you have to create content as like your part of your fame, all of us still have day jobs. You're rich and creating content. But like you said, you're like, all of my friends are doing work or doing something, or you know what I mean? Like, yeah,
And it's all would be the best when you were in your 20s.
of course.
Like, you'd want a nice car so you could drive your friends around, or you'd want a nice place so you could have friends over, or just not
on.
enjoy your success alone.
Let me explain something to you, okay? If you brought me back to being unsuccessful 20-year-old me, I'd take it in a heartbeat.
That's what I was asked the other day. Would you go back to high school? And would you go back to high school knowing everything you know now? I said, I'd go back to high school knowing nothing and make all the same mistakes, because it just gets emptier and emptier.
Let me ask you a question. Oh, that's interesting. This wasn't work for you, but this would work for Simon. So, Simon, if you could go back, how long have you and Halima been together? 17 years?
22 years.
Okay, that's probably too long. So, if you could go back 26 years knowing everything you know now,
Yeah.
do you change anything? Because keep in mind, any little change could change the trajectory, right? Like, I think about this all the time, like Bitcoin. Like, right, if you knew everything, that's the first thing you'd want to keep with you is like,
we just bought
obviously
it and
just
diamond hand it
just
when
buy
we started this
500
podcast.
Bitcoin for $500. Yeah, right. But the second you buy that Bitcoin, it changes the future trajectory of your life, right? So you may not then. Isn't that weird? Like, do you make the change?
Yeah, I don't know. No, I guess not.
You remember that Jim Belushi movie?
Because it could be way worse.
Was it Mr. Destiny?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did
that
not
was
hit
the
home
whole.
run or hit the
That's
home
it. Yeah, that was the whole fucking thing. I just wish I had hit that home run in high school, and he hits it, and his life changes, and he hates it.
I thought it was a bit egregious that it took 2 hours for Joe to ask about SNL. But on the flip side, that Joe got his help from his manager and his own work on the HBO special. Dennis Miller put the word in for Adam Sandler. I never knew that.
Adam Sandler also didn't speak ill. We've heard a lot of people come in and speak ill of Saturday Night Live, or we've had a few people, I think.
Jim
Because
Brewer,
I think he has a great relationship with
Lorne Michaels.
Lauren Michaels.
Probably.
Lauren helped him make all those movies at the beginning.
Did he?
I assume so.
I don't think so, because Lorne Michaels is like he's the worst with putting his name on everything, and his name would have been all over that shit.
Okay, fine, maybe.
well, Wayne's World is all.
Anything that you came up with at Saturday Night
Wayne's
Live, Lorne
World.
Michael owns. Wayne's World is owned by Lorne Michaels.
I see. Right.
The
But
Ladies'
if you-
Man owned by Lorne Michaels.
Okay, and he didn't do any.
That's what I'm saying. The Happy Gilmore. No,
characters.
he didn't.
But what's his name did?
Like
Mike
if he
Myers.
had, if he had made an Opera Man movie, that's
Yeah.
Lorne. Like that's not a Happy Gilmore production anymore.
Gotcha. And Mike Myers then started making his own characters after Wayne's World. He did Austin Powers, which was
His own, yeah. And they nearly made Sprockets, but that's what ended up blackballing Mike Myers forever.
and then the other guys who weren't as famous would do Lorne Michaels productions because they had no choice. They
Yeah.
couldn't make
Leon
their own
Phelps, the
movies.
Ladies' Man.
Interesting.
So that's why I was saying I'm not sure Lorne Michaels had that big a hand. He might have
Night at the Roxbury.
watched Lorne for that 10 years and like drawn inspiration as to like this is how you run a production company.
So it was Sandler, all those guys,
Yeah.
and then that led into
Will Ferrell, Chris Kattan.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty seamlessly. That was a great time too in Saturday Night Live history.
I mean, I didn't watch a lot then, so I can't comment on like listen, the people that came out of there, Jimmy Fallon, Chris Kattan, Will Ferrell, Kristen Wiig, Tina Fey.
Dude, Kristen Wiig is so fucking funny. Have you
She's
seen the
hilarious.
one where she's
Fucking
like,
incredible.
"Don't make me sing. Don't make me sing." And he's like, "I'm not asking you to sing at all." "Okay, I'll sing."
Who else? Fred Armisen.
Yeah, he was never my favorite, Fred Armisen.
Doesn't matter. My point is that was that class.
Oh no, there
of-
was a lot of people
some
who
heavy
came
hitters,
out of
yeah.
that class.
He
Yeah.
did. Oh no.
I mean, Will Ferrell's obviously the biggest.
Will Ferrell, Jimmy Fallon.
I'd say Will Ferrell's way bigger than Jimmy Fallon.
I mean, as he's a better comedian, but Jimmy Fallon's pretty big. He's done movies and he's
What movies has Jimmy Fallon done?
He did Fever Pitch or Pitch Fever, whatever that one is with Drew Barrymore, where they're the Red Sox fans. He
I think
did,
if you looked at money made from movies, I get it. Jimmy Fallon
Yeah,
has a
and they're not in
television
the
show.
same
Wasn't
league,
that
but it's
Justin
the-
Long? No, it was
No,
Jimmy Fallon.
it was Jimmy Fallon.
But
for
Jimmy
sure.
Fallon as a comedian, the only problem he was on SNL, you could say he's the same as Adam Sandler way because he'd always break.
Like he joins
Always
in.
break.
We are talking about him because he's on SNL.
I know he's part of the. He's jumping back in. That's I passed him the baton. He just seamlessly grabbed it, jumped in.
And then you made it awkward.
Don't be mad. Everything's okay.
One of the
Do you
things.
guys have problems walking around with your dicks up each other's asses?
Yes.
You know
Sometimes
what's funny?
he wants to go
You know
somewhere.
what's funny? When he defends you, there's no dick up anyone's ass. It's just old friends being cool.
No, we're just walking normal like.
Human centipede.
Cringe moment of the podcast is when Joe starts singing James Taylor
Yeah.
because he was, the song "Fire and Rain." Do you know what
I
it's
seen
about?
fire and I seen
And that
rain.
idea that
Do you know what that's about?
you listen to a song like that right before you go on stage and it fucks you up.
I seen summer days that I thought would
What
never
do you think?
end.
What's sadder, that one or the one about the kid falling out the window?
Eric
Tears in
Clapton.
Heaven. Ooh.
Tears in Heaven.
Which one? What is the sadder song? I think
Fire and
Tears
Rain.
in Heaven.
Fire and
is-
Rain for me.
For me, it's Tears in Heaven.
Well,
That's funny because neither of those songs would be like a tearjerker, and I'm not a dad, but
Do
I
you have a tearjerker?
yeah. The
Father and Son.
is that the one? Cat's not Cat,
Cat
Stevens.
Stevens,
Is that
yeah,
the one? You know what
yeah.
I'm talking about, right? Where
The son came home just
the
the
one.
other
No, don't
day.
say
I just have to ask Joe.
that's the one.
That's the one.
Yeah.
And you just think about your dad and it breaks that you break down.
No, I've never broken down from a song. No, but I'm just saying that would be like, because like Tears from Heaven, I listened to that song 100 times before I ever knew it was about his fucking.
Tears in Heaven.
Yeah, we. Yes. Do you know any other lyrics from the song?
That is a sad song though. I mean, his
Son jumped out a window. Yeah. His infant son.
You want to know what makes that song sad? Is there's nothing in it that's saying like my son fell out the window in the
You just know
in
it's-
the other one they're like saying
Metaphorically describe what
Suzanne,
happens.
the plans they made put an end
Stop,
to you.
you're gonna make me cry.
That's not sad. Like he's telling you.
Yeah.
The other one's sad because you don't know.
All That I Got Is You by Ghostface. That was always a tough one to listen
That's
to.
a sad song.
Yeah.
I don't know that song.
What about Last
Well,
Kiss?
no, that's a sad song.
You don't think so?
I don't know. What is it?
It's a song about a guy loses his girl in a car crash.
What is the song though? Sing it for me.
Where can my baby be?
Yeah.
The Lord took her away.
I mean,
Oh,
it's a
pardon
little
God.
too like get up and it's got some spunk to it, you know?
Well, sometimes a happy sounding song is very sad. I mean, Today from Smashing Pumpkins is about suicide.
Oh, I didn't know that until right now.
Yeah.
It was one of my favorite happy songs ever.
Well, there you go.
Today is the greatest
To take it
day
all away.
I've ever known. That sounds great. That's happy.
Now you know.
Well, I don't like it. What's
I would say love songs get me the most, like the sad.
Yes.
Because I
Memories
felt
of a relationship.
Love
yeah, like I said,
Well,
like
that's
Chris,
lost. That's
like Chris
lost.
Isaac's "Wicked Game." That's
I
fucking,
hate that song so
oh,
much.
love that fucking song.
Are
It's one of
you
the best
kidding?
songs ever written,
Really?
hands down. Yeah.
Okay, no.
Bill Withers has a million fucking
Go on, tell me all about Bill Withers. Tears of a Clown?
no.
No, that's what's his name.
No, the best Bill Withers love song I think I mentioned a few weeks ago is "Hope She'll Be Happier."
No, I'm just joking.
Oh,
that's that scene from.
If you listen to "Hope She'll Be
sure.
Happier" off his live at the at Carnegie Hall, it's like one of the best performances ever, hands down, done and dusted. But in general, Bill Withers, "Ain't No Sunshine."
No, I'm just joking. I was thinking of
Tears
that
of a
scene
Clown,
in The
yeah.
Office.
Which one? Oh no, Smokey Robinson, the
Smokey
Smoke Man.
Robinson,
Yeah,
the
tell me
Smoke
more.
Man,
Yeah.
yeah.
Name another song.
One thing they
Name
also
me
said
2 more songs he sings.
is no matter how long you do comedy, you can bomb. It's not a thing that is just you get above it. Anything could happen. Like we said, listen to the song.
Here's where I'll push
But I
back on
think
that.
you get comfortable, and once you're comfortable, that's half the battle. You know.
No, but I was even going to say, I think even a 20-year vet bombing is nowhere near as train wrecky as watching a year one person bomb. Would you agree with that?
As Joey Diaz says, it's all how one handles the bomb.
Like Shane was saying
Sure.
the other day, he bombed not so long ago, and you're just like,
What's your bomb?
Did
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
You know, like you didn't bomb the same way
Yeah.
we've seen at some places. You know, anyways.
Another interesting thing Adam
brain's
said that Joe, explained to him is he would meet famous people and forgot he met them.
Yeah.
That you if you met Adam Sandler and never met, you remember for the rest of your life, but you meet so many people and so
Yeah.
many stuff. Like I wish he had said who it was, but he was like, I met you and forgot about it. I thought this was just an amazing podcast because he was very open and it didn't seem like, well, it bugs you, I suppose, professional criticism of him supporting Joe in his special and whatnot. But
Well, one of the more interesting things about Adam Sandler is that despite his immense success, he still genuinely seems like the average dude. Right? Like there's nothing.
legitimately, not like Joe pretending to be the average dude.
No, I'm saying like
Yeah.
and it's something you can't put on for
Like
2 hours.
you know what he does for fun? Plays basketball with his friends,
with normal people
Yeah.
at like the Y
Yeah.
in New York.
Takes his buddies to aqua parks in the grown ups.
Yeah.
You know, I assume grown ups is their life.
Yep, exactly. No, but that's it. Like when you see photos of Adam Sandler playing pickup ball at the YMCA, like you're not going to see Jeff Bezos playing pickup ball at the YMCA.
You're not going to see Joe playing pickleball at the YMCA.
pickup, not pickle.
Pickle. Or pickle.
Or that, yeah. That's so weird. I thought I just saw you lick your entire finger. Like I thought you took a huge puff off that vape and then stuck your entire index finger in your mouth and was just like,
I wonder that'd be like.
probably tastes like anus.
The most
There's-
obnoxious thing you can do is watch something you did.
I mean, it might help
They
Joe.
said they knew people who did that.
What was it? Sorry.
Like you go over to the house and like, hey, do you want to see this thing I just did? A performance. Want to watch my movie? It's really.
Yeah.
I feel like Kanye's the king of that.
I feel like he might actually. That's a great call.
Like you have to watch his portfolio before you hang out.
Who would have thought that Bobcat would be the biggest thing, or the most successful thing that came out of Police Academy?
Yeah.
Because he seemed like the throwaway sort of. Well, this guy's crazy, but Steve Guttenberg. I mean, at that time, Michael Winslow was the greatest.
Gutenberg had a decent career.
3 Men and a Little Baby, sort of.
I think you're
That's
doing
it.
this weird thing though, where like it's like who's the guy from Ghostbusters that directed it?
Ivan
Reitman.
Reitman.
Reitman. So like, you know what I mean? Like Reitman went on to be a big director, but
Yeah.
he wasn't so much an actor. Whereas Bobcat, I think,
What
has
was he an actor in?
I think he might have been
Ghostbusters.
the.
No, he was the
Venkman.
director of Ghostbusters.
Venkman,
He
no,
was.
Peter Venkman is
Yes.
Bill Murray. He was Egon.
Yeah.
He was Egon.
That's Ivan Reitman. Yeah.
He directed that.
No, I don't
and
think. I
started
don't think
it?
that's
no,
right.
I don't think
One
that's
of them.
right.
Okay.
I don't think
One
that's
of them
right.
in the movie did something.
Did they?
Yeah.
You're
Find
losing.
it, Kamar.
You're losing.
No, I'd like to be proven. I'd like you to prove me wrong on this one,
Okay.
because that would be a neat story if he was. But I don't think he is. But maybe he is. I don't know.
Here, director.
I know the director is Ivan Reitman, but I don't think
No, he
Egon.
wrote it. Oh, he did direct it.
Wow.
Oh no! Whoa!
Okay.
Directed by Ivan Reitman, written
Yeah.
by Harold Ramis. That's what I was
Harold
talking about.
Ramis. Yes.
Thank you. I
He's
didn't
the
mean
actor.
Ivan Reitman. I
Ivan
meant Harold
though,
Ramis.
is the son
So
of
who's
the-
Harold Ramis?
Egon.
That's the actor who plays Egon.
Yes.
He wrote it.
He went on to write and direct multiple things after Ghostbusters.
Okay.
And I think he'd be more like he's more known in the director. I mean, again, if you don't know he's a director, then you'd say he was in Ghostbusters. But my point is, Bobcat went on to be more famous for directing than acting, I would say. Because after Police Academy, what was he actor in?
Well, what did he direct?
He wrote, analyzed that.
you know about.
He wrote, analyzed that. Mostly all the Ghostbusters.
Who, Bob Wait?
Analyzed
Bobcat?
this. No, Harold Ramis.
Bobcat directed a bunch of Chappelle episodes.
Shakes the Clown with Adam Sandler.
But nobody really knew that. And he directed
But we're
that
not talking
Bigfoot
about-
thing I like, but nobody really knew that either.
We're not okay. Sure.
Well, no, you're saying he was more famous as a director than
Harold
he was
Ramis
as an actor. And I'm saying no.
wrote the screenplay to Back to School, which Adam Sandler stole to do Billy Madison. Wow.
There you go.
That's a moment, full circle. Yeah, they're all big and they're all successful in their own way. But Bobcat directed Jimmy Kimmel for years.
Out of that whole crew, the whole Grown Ups crew,
Grown Ups crew.
you know Grown Ups, the movie?
We're saying David Spade, Colin Quinn, Chris Rock, Rob Schneider,
yeah.
Adam Sandler, and Nick Swartzen.
Yeah.
Is there someone I'm missing? Kevin James, maybe?
Yeah, Kevin James. Is Adam Sandler your fave?
I think so, yeah.
Out of all those guys, you take Sandler above Chris Rock.
Yeah.
Really?
Okay, yeah.
I've always liked
Yeah,
Adam
no.
Sandler.
I mean, that's the same for me too. I've always been a big Adam Sandler fan. I just have always liked him. I like his movies. I know they're stupid. I don't care. The only one I didn't like genuinely didn't like, was the one with the sister, the twin sister.
Yeah, that's sort of like Eddie Murphy Meet the Clumps.
Yeah, but even thinking back on it now, it's kind of funny because the sister looks so funny.
What movie is that?
He's a twin. He has a twin sister, and he plays both of them. You've never seen that one, Maddie?
No. What was the other Adam Sandler movie? It's not his movie, but he was in it where he's famous and he has a son.
Oh yeah, that's funny. That one.
Yeah. What the fuck's the name of that one?
Andy Samberg's his son.
Yeah. What's the name of that one? Something Boy. Again, I'm going with Boy.
You are obsessed with boys.
No, I'm telling you. I think it's in the
Kamar,
name.
what movie is that? Do you know what we're talking about?
The Waterboy.
No.
No.
Sandler and Sam.
Yeah, that's a really funny one too.
That's my boy.
That's my boy. Jesus,
See?
that's my daddy.
That's my daddy. No, that movie was hilarious.
The Cobbler.
Oh, The Cobbler wasn't very good, but it was okay. Like, I watched it with my kids, and it's totally watchable with
Jack
your
and
kids,
Jill.
you know? Jack and Jill, that was. But now thinking about it, I didn't hate it so much. It's kind of funny.
Funny People was great.
Yeah.
Dude, the scene with Ray Romano and Eminem is one of the funniest fucking things in film history. Do you remember the scene? Eminem and Adam Sandler are talking, and Eminem's like, he's like, I can't go anywhere without someone fucking looking at me. And he goes, what's this guy's fucking problem? And it goes to a shot of Ray Romano talking to Seth Rogen. And Seth Rogen's like, dude, it's Eminem. Why don't you just go talk to him? And he's like, what am I going to go say? And then Eminem's like this guy just staring at me. And he goes, and Adam Sandler goes, who, Ray Ramone? Ray Ramone? And he goes, who the fuck's Ray Ramone? Hey, Ray, why don't you come over here and fuck me?
He's innocently just adoring.
And then it's a bad. And then Seth Rogen, Ray Romano looks at Seth Rogen. He goes, "Oh my god, is he yelling at me?" And Seth, one of the funniest fucking scenes ever.
What does Seth Rogen say?
I can't remember. I'll pull up the scene for you after. It's you know what? Here, I have the technology. Go ahead, Kamar. Give me 1 sec.
For my favorite scene in that movie is when he brings the two young girls home to share with Seth Rogen, and Seth Rogen sort of can't seal the
In
deal.
what movie?
The one we were just talking about, the funny people.
Funny People. And the two girls are there, and he bangs the one girl and comes back, and he's not hitting it off. He's like, "Hey, do you want to come see my record collection?" Remember that? He's banging her. She's like, "You're as old as my dad."
He did one with Selma Hayek, which I didn't love.
Punch Drunk Love,
Punch Drunk Love. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I didn't like that one either.
where Damon Wayans is a
Oh,
cop.
yeah.
And he's a
And Bruce
criminal.
Willis.
And they go to Airbnb, and he's like, "Why don't we make a sandwich with the wife?" And he goes, "What are you talking about? You know exactly what I'm talking about." And does the funniest "I Will Always Love You" sing in the shower scene I've ever seen. If I had the technology, I would have brought it up, but that's for another day. Yeah, Adam Sandler, hero. I give this a 5.
Fuck you.
I'll go to 4.
Oh,
4.5. Fuck it.
I'll give it a 3.85. I thought it was good, but Joe didn't.
I'm taking away the 0.5 because shop talk, like you're a comedian.
Loved it.
Yeah. I just, for the normal person, like even you, Kumar, who's into comedy, they
Love
hear me out. They drop so many names that even you don't know. Owners of clubs in fucking Capixi or
But I can
Poughkeepsie.
relate to the thought, and it's the same thing as Simon says when he hears someone who hates Joe for the same reason he hates Joe. It makes him feel better. When they tell stories or talk about things that I've experienced, I feel like while I'm in the same arena that I know they're talking
How about what's the funniest movie you ever made? What was the hardest movie you ever made? Who was the funniest person you ever worked with? Like, give me something.
But Joe hates Hollywood. And Joe doesn't like movies, like the making of movies. It's because he's had a million guys on and he hasn't asked any of those questions, right?
Yeah. Okay. You know what? Yeah.
I'm just saying, Robert Downey Jr., like how many, Dennis Quaid, he never talks, they almost never talk about films or the film industry.
He didn't talk about any of
Okay. I don't.
Dennis Quaid's roles to support me.
Listen, Joe thought Uncut Gems was one of the best movies you've ever seen. He didn't even bring it up.
Well,
Didn't
Adam
even
brought
bring
up
it up.
Kevin Garnett training or something,
Yeah.
and it was just a sidebar. Yeah.
KJ.
But you see what I'm saying? It seems odd that Joe...
I know he's not great at his job. Okay, we can go now. We can move on.
Go ahead, Kumar.
2188 Adam Ray. Finally. The prodigal son returns. You know,
And sorry, just before we get started with Adam Ray,
Yeah.
Joe's never been to the pyramids.
Yep.
I just want to point out, okay, he's been to Rome, Greece.
Yeah.
He's right there, like a hop, skip, and a jump away in a private plane.
Yeah.
He should be so ashamed of himself.
apparently Adam said,
Okay, now you can go on. with
apparently
your-
Aaron Rodgers missed a bit of practice because had to go to the pyramids,
that's my guy.
making the sacrifices.
That's my guy.
They mentioned Brian Holtzman. If you've ever wondered about him, I'd recommend listening to him on the Greg Fitzsimmons podcast.
Okay.
He's a normal guy, but whenever you hear him, he's just saying crazy stuff. That was the first time he did the Biden on that
On Kill Tony.
on the debates,
Biden. It sounds like a German word.
which is
Biden.
really impressive. And Adam Ray is like a more charismatic Kyle Dunnigan. Discuss.
I disagree. I think you were right on when you said he's a great comedic actor.
As Kyle Dunnigan is when he does his characters, he's
You
great.
see, I don't find his character.
None of us do, but-
No, but Adam Ray, he has great timing from being a comedian, and he's just so good with his like facial features, and that is his shtick, man. That's what he should lean into hard.
Yeah. Next time you should do Cat Williams in blackface.
I think he could get a pass in blackface. That's how good he is at doing his shtick. Like, it's art when he does it.
Yeah.
I wonder if he could just like do that.
But you don't love his stand-up.
Well, I've never seen his stand up, but I will say this.
I have.
You and I mentioned, I had seen like clips of him on podcasts, and I was like, I prefer him I actually liked him on this podcast.
Yeah, he's just a guy.
No, I know, but I didn't need him as like Biden or Dr. Phil.
It's interesting that he's been around this whole time and never got mentioned.
Yeah.
You know what I thought he did too much of, where he'd say, "Hey Joe, what do you think of that?" You know what
And
I mean?
I'm prepared to agree with it.
Yeah.
What's your take on it?
yeah,
100%?
What did you think of my special? Don't ask him that. That's weird.
I don't know if he said that specifically, but
Oh, he did.
There was a lot of Kill
Re-listen to
Tony
the tape.
talk in this, obviously. Is it wrong to play porn in public?
Yes. I like how he's
kind
asking
of
because
question
he
is that?
does it all the
Yeah,
time.
I know. Yeah.
Dude, it's so gross to watch porn in public. Like when you see somebody do that.
How often are you seeing this?
Well, I can't. I've seen it on like not the bus, but like the train.
You don't take the
I
bus
was
or
gonna
the
say,
train. You haven't done that in 30 years.
You know what I did see one time?
Okay.
We were trick or treating with the kids,
Yeah.
We walk up to the thing,
Yeah.
ring the doorbell.
Yeah.
The guy comes, giving the kids candy, and I can see through the living room window that he's paused his porno movie. That's fucking weird, right?
Yeah.
Because he had to go get a snack.
He's watching a porno movie and still giving out the fucking candy. That's weird.
That is weird.
That is weird.
It is not illegal to jerk off in a bathroom stall of a public building.
Are you telling yourself this? Because it 100% is.
No, I think it's illegal to get caught.
Here's something interesting.
Bravo, Kumar. Bravo.
Am I wrong?
Do you know why there's a gap in the?
Bravo.
Do you know why there's gaps in North American toilet stalls? Like why it doesn't go to the bottom and why there's a nice gap?
So people can see you if you're in trouble?
That is the lie that we've been told. That is how I always thought.
It should be sealed off.
What is it?
Corporate America spent money doing tests probably like 20, 30 years ago, whatever, and they realized that people will spend less time on the
I
toilet
was
if they're
gonna say,
uncomfortable.
They want to get in and out because
that's
someone
insane.
their
That's
it,
eyes
'cause
could
the
match
eye-
each other.
Precisely, yeah.
No, it's true. Because as soon as places started putting in the full doors, I spent so much time. No, I'm just joking. I don't like public bathrooms. But Kamar, how did this start, this conversation?
Adam Ray was on
You asked a question.
about playing porn in public.
No, it
He said he was on a
about
plane.
bathrooms.
You can jerk off in a bathroom. You can't get caught.
That's
jerking off
the
in a
best
bathroom.
joke you've ever written.
Is it a joke? It's
It's 100% hilarious
100. That's great.
because it
I'll write that
really
down.
is only a problem if you get caught.
Well, that's all crime, isn't it?
Actually, yes, that's right.
I mean, it's just I would never do it. Oh, not to get
Hi, Mary. Everybody, look at Mary.
too deep into politics, but have you noticed how they tried to integrate the word weird?
You're weird.
Well, no. Kamala started calling J.D. Vance and Trump weird, and now up here they're calling Pierre Poilievre weird. And it's
Really?
just-
Because
it's
I
just weird.
love the word weird.
But to call someone weird is to discredit them, right?
No, I think weird is great.
Weird is good.
Like Austin.
Obviously, give me more weird.
Keep it weird.
Andrew Dice Clay, the first comic to be canceled. I can't stress enough how impactful he was on me, for better or for worse.
I mean, but do you look back and say, what a genius?
I
Like,
look
I
back and
don't.
go, I can't believe how hard we'd laugh and say them over and over again. That's the other thing.
Because we were young and we would laugh at anybody who swore.
And because 100% it's like Eminem, Marshall Mathers. Like that was a complete character, which...
You didn't know that as a kid. Don't do that.
No.
At all.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not, but I was not saying this is remedial. Like it was so rude. I can't believe a studio recorded this. He was allowed to say this and it was allowed to be put out.
I think Simon's point though was like if you were a 25-year-old listening to Dice Clay back then,
I think there was a lot less rude comedy and it was still the only game in town.
We were 13 years
He was
old.
so
That's
big.
that. I think that's how old I was when that came out. Right around then,
It was
anyways.
locker room to the
maybe
max.
maybe 11 years old. It was so like amazing. Little boy blue. He needed the money. It was so amazing that somebody was saying these things. It wasn't like watching it back now. You're like, how did I even laugh at that? But you
After
watched
you've seen so much comedy.
you watch Delirious back now, and you're still cracking. Do you know what I mean?
I think some of it you almost cringe though.
oh yeah, Delirious. Unfortunately,
maybe you cringe.
no. If you were to go home and watch Delirious tonight,
Yeah.
I promise you,
I'd say Eddie Murphy was a more homophobic than Andrew Dice Clay, but maybe I wasn't. Maybe Andrew Dice Clay did much stuff.
it is the most homophobic. I'm just telling
Okay,
you,
you
Simon.
cut out the homophobic.
well, then you're
stuff?
left with 10 minutes of material.
Okay, enough. This is-
I'm not even kidding.
This is crazy.
I'm not, Simon. I'm not joking. You go back and watch Delirious tonight. The word faggot it probably said as much as the word the.
Eddie Murphy
know what
was
ha-
funnier to me than Andrew Dice Clay, but Andrew Dice Clay was just so wild.
You know what happened with Andrew Dice Clay? So he was super popular with all the kids doing his shtick or whoever, huge. And then he did Ford Fairlane, and it was like Tom Green doing.
No, it was the
He
cancellation.
got canceled
He got
right
canceled
before
before
Ford
Ford
Oh, did
Fairlane.
he?
That's why it was
That's
a bust.
why?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say it was just like. Tom
And I went
Green
to that
doing
first
Freddy
night it
Got
came out,
Fingered.
waited in line, whatever you wanted. Like
But Ford Fairlane wasn't a good movie. It would have flopped. It was not a good movie.
it's good. It's good.
No,
No, it's
but
not.
it's not what people were looking for from Andrew Dice Clay. They wanted more Jack and Jill went up the hill. They didn't want to see him doing whatever. I'm telling you, it would have flopped.
Well, I mean, hold on. Okay. We're talking about a different era. Flop is a weird thing. If he hadn't gotten canceled, it might have made 60 million. I'm
Let's
saying
do the movie game.
for Ford Fairlane.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not playing the song again. We'll just do it.
Okay, let's just do it.
Come on, are you ready?
It's the JRE movie game. We hope you like the show. It's the Flintstones. Meet the Flintstones. It's a modern day family. One thing I will say about in this week, there was a lot of Joe spouting facts and Jamie going, no, that's not true.
Yeah, Jamie's been doing that a lot lately.
And I think they're having a lover's quarrel.
Yeah, well, I think Joe's just saying a lot of things that aren't true lately. He's like getting caught in a lot of headlines.
I think there's just too much information and you can't keep track of stuff. And it's the adventures of Ford Fairlane.
I'm ready. I'm prepared. This will be the
I'm
toughest
ready.
one we've ever
This
done.
is crazy.
Can I just go through the cast first?
Sure. Yeah, I'm ready.
Andrew Dice Clay,
Obviously.
Wayne Newton,
Weird.
Priscilla Presley,
Weird.
Morris Day,
Don't know who that
Gilbert Gottfried,
Okay.
Lauren Hawley. She had a run. She was a really hot
yeah.
girl. Maddie Corman, Tone Loke,
Tone Loke.
Robert Englund, who is
Yeah,
Freddie,
yeah, I know.
and Ed O'Neill.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm so off, but I feel here
So
we
isn't
go.
it funny that you forgot about Tone Loke?
Well, he stole a song from
Funky Cole Medina.
that got stolen from Van Halen.
Bow, dap, dap, ba, ba, ba. But his voice too is so recognizable. Like, remember he was in Heat?
Yeah,
The boy down there. Yeah. Okay, Simon, you have a year?
Yeah,
What year?
1986.
Yeah. I have 91.
1990.
Ooh.
Close enough.
Okay.
I said it cost 15 million.
1.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it made 8.5.
Whoa. I said it cost 60 million.
60?
City Cent.
And it made 40 million. 40.
Well, it was a high budget movie, but not that high. Budget $20 million.
I thought it
I'm
was
right
really
there.
high for some reason.
That's high
Box
for that
office,
time.
21.4
I
million.
think that's a win for me.
And a win for Andrew Dice Clay. Could
Except-
even be
except on the
canceled
year,
and break even with your movie. And I mean, I love that he's still living a lifestyle. And he's not like begging for money on TikTok.
Who are we talking about?
Andrew Dice Clay.
I think it's the funniest. His Instagrams
No.
are funniest when he does it to a famous person. Like I saw him go up to Matt Damon at the airport the other day and do his whole shtick. And you could tell Matt Damon was like, "What the fuck's going on here?" I thought that
Fearless.
was hilarious.
It's trolling everyone.
No. Who are we talking about? What guest is it?
Andrew Dice Clay. Oh no, what
He's
guest?
not the
It's,
guest.
it's Adam Ray.
Adam Ray. Thank you. Dr. Phil.
Was Waterworld as bad as they say?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yes,
Oh
it
yeah,
was.
100%.
It was
Because it was an
terrible.
environmental movie.
No, because it's a terrible movie.
It just wasn't a good movie.
The idea was the whole world was covered in water.
Yeah.
And they were seeking dirt.
Waterworld, the Scientology movie?
Is that what it was? He's
Wait.
living on the boat.
Is Waterworld the Kevin Costner movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, sorry. I'm thinking of Something Earth is the Scientology movie with
Yeah, Battlefield Earth with John
Battlefield
Travolta.
Earth, yeah.
That's bad.
Yeah, that's really
I actually think Waterworld is underrated.
Oh no, it was really long and just really boring at times. It was like Dances with Wolves, but on the water.
But it was also about we had let the planet.
Yeah.
You know what the
Go.
It was
funniest
an
part?
apocalypse movie.
Yes.
It was like The Postman. He did it twice.
The funniest part of Waterworld is that at the time they were like, they spent $100 million on this movie twice, and now you're like, they spent $200 million
What do you
on
mean
app.
twice. Why did they have to do it twice?
They had a budget for the movie.
Yeah.
The whole set sunk, and they had to.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, that's why it was the biggest loser at the time because they
That's
spent
true?
double the money on it. Yeah, but the point is this: what they spend now on advertising for like a Marvel movie was what they lost on that movie, and they were like, big. You know what I mean?
I mean, but still, it
Go
was
ahead.
a huge.
175 million, 264 at the box office.
There you go.
Waterworld.
Am I right though? Did
out
the
of
did
bar.
the thing sink? Is that why it cost so much money? Go to production.
174
5
million.
million. Yeah.
Holy fuck.
What year was that, Kamar?
That
1995.
was.
That's a lot of money in 95.
Oh my God,
That's a
so
lot of
much.
money in 95.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Is there anything there? Production?
It's a lot in production. You know how I am for reading.
Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah. Well, if it's that much in production, that shows you that something went wrong. Because normally the production section of a Wikipedia is very short.
So at Madison Square Gardens, Garden, Trump, what's his name, does Trump? Mm-hmm. And does he do Biden at that show too?
Yeah.
Okay. I can't wait to see that.
I think the problem is I don't want them to beat it to death.
Well, they can't anyways because Biden's out, so he's useless now.
I guess
He'd
you're
have
right.
to do
Yeah.
Kamala.
Yeah. I guess they only have
That
like
would
2
be
more
so
months of it or
funny
something.
if he did blackface Kamala.
Fucking
Again,
incredible.
it's for art.
Yeah, of
right?
course. Yeah. You let it fly. It's like smoking. You're allowed.
I wonder if they'll get somebody to play Kamala. You know who they could get? Tish. No,
Yeah, the
what's
lesbian
her name?
from-
No. You know, she's been on Rogan a bunch of times.
Why not just get Miss Pat?
Oh my God, that would be hilarious. No, do you know who I'm thinking of?
No. And you're not going to get there either, so.
She's been on Rogan.
That didn't help.
She's a comedian. Kamar, would you chime in here?
A floating set did sink, and they had to repair it. It did not cost fully $100 million, but Steven Spielberg had warned him to not film on water.
Black woman comedian who's been on Joe Rogan multiple times.
Miss Pat.
One more time.
Thank you.
Tiffany Haddish.
Tiffany Haddish. There you go.
Tiffany Haddish,
How many-
who's in that hate video about Joe Rogan, about being part of his universe.
Yeah.
And they're just kids.
Candace Owens. Mm-hmm. I think those are all the black ladies
Tulsi
who have
Gabbard?
ever been on. She's not black.
Woman of color.
No, but black ladies. Those are the only black ladies who
Miss
have
Pat.
ever been on Joe Rogan. Isn't that weird?
No, they're not Jewish, so that takes away a
She had the
50%
Indian
chance of
woman
them being
from.
on.
He had the Indian woman from
You
Twitter.
know what, Matt? We had been doing so good lately.
Why does that bother you?
Just
Facts?
have
Hold
to-
on. Are you
He's
bothered by
had,
facts?
He had Betty Hill's granddaughter on.
Angela Hill,
That was a
Barney and Betty Hill.
That was
an MMA. So those don't
She's
count.
on. What are we doing here?
No, only MMAs or only regular shows we're talking about.
Okay.
You're talking
Name
about
another one. Name another person.
Sam Harris.
Whoopi Goldberg.
You just said name another person. I had.
Another black lady who's been on Joe Rogan.
I think you may have me there. Monique? No.
That would be a good guess for him, though. Do you think Monique's funny?
Monique's
No,
definitely funny.
I
Yeah,
think
hilarious.
she was in that movie Precious and was such a horrible person.
Oh, I don't. I
Like,
haven't seen
an amazing
Precious.
actress. But that's how she's become for me.
I saw a funny movie called like Welcome Home Roscoe or something. It's what's his name? Martin.
Steve Martin, Short.
Martin Lawrence.
Okay. Way
Goes
off.
back to like a family reunion type of deal, and they're all in it. Cedric the Entertainer, Monique, whatever. You haven't seen that one?
No.
He fights
Kamar's watching
Monique in it.
trans
It's
TikTok
so
videos?
funny, Matt.
He fights Monique in
Yeah,
it.
because they're like brother and sister.
I miss Bernie Mac. Bernie Mac was the best out of all of them.
Bernie Mac was pretty amazing.
The best. Come on.
I like Martin Lawrence. I think he's pretty funny if you're out of that whole crew.
Well, we'll be shortening our list and adding names in the post, Joe.
But Steve Martin,
So Adam Ray has to have.
incredible.
They talk at the beginning. Joe goes, "Have you ever met Dr. Phil?" He goes, "No, but it'd be wild. I'm thinking of having him on." And then he'll come out, and then I'll come out, and then 2 hours later he goes, "So have you ever met Dr.
Yeah.
Phil?" He goes, "No, but I'm thinking of have him on because he's just in the zone, and I love Adam Ray."
I saw an interview with Dr. Phil where he's talking about Adam Ray, and he only says nice things. He's like, I think it's really funny.
It would be a pretty big matzo ball for Dr. Phil to say anything other than that.
Would it?
I think so, yeah.
I mean, theoretically, this guy looks so much like Dr. Phil that he could do some real damage out there, you know?
Yeah, but I think we've watched enough to know that he isn't really... Like, if Dr. Phil was taking a big hit financially, I think he would reach out. But I think he knows it's all in good fun. It's not hurting his brand. Like,
Dr. Phil is worth so much money, right? Like,
So
how
much.
much is Dr. Phil worth?
$300 million.
That much, you think? Let's
Yeah.
see.
And if we don't clean up the ocean, the fish will because they're defending their own territory. And then Joe said the loudest sound ever, but it wasn't a. It was biological. Then Jamie was like, "No, that was a
What the fuck are you talking
iceberg
about?
breaking." Just another fact check to
The loudest sound on Earth is an iceberg breaking.
Because he was like, "Hey, so what do you think about those guys in
remember that.
the going down the Titanic?"
460, Matt.
I
don't think he needs to get any money from Adam Ray.
Dr. Phil is worth $500 million.
That's so crazy. That's
Wow,
so
privilege.
crazy. That's so crazy. And not only that, he's made what's her name? Who's
Danielle
worth?
Bregoli. She's worth 150.
Why are you saying her name like that?
That's what her name is, Danielle.
Lil Cash or whatever her name is. Cash Me
Bad
Outside.
Baby.
Yeah, Bad Baby.
Danielle Bregoli.
Okay, it's just weird that you know her name.
It would be ridiculous if Dr. Phil has points on that, and it's wheeling and dealing. It's the entertainment industry, and everyone gets a piece.
Can you imagine 5 years down the road? Yeah, we find out that he owns 10% of
You know who
Cash
else?
Me Outside.
You know who else comes from that show? That guy we hate the most, Kamar.
Dr. Oz.
No, the little YouTuber dude with the curly
Jack
hair.
Doherty.
Jack
Yep.
Doherty also comes from Dr. Phil.
Really?
Yeah, he's just a
Platform.
He's a jump off for shitty people.
for shitty fucking YouTubers.
But that was a whole thing. I mean, I think it was Dennis Quaid was like, the thing about Trump is whatever, he says crazy shit, but he sort of is a mere reflection to America to see sort of who a lot of them are, where we used to see it on Geraldo, Jerry Springer,
oh, Jerry Springer. Remember
you know what,
those
Maury
days?
Povich.
You know what you're forgetting too is like that's all so good for Dr. Phil. Like Cash Me Outside.
People
Yeah.
want to get on the show. They want to.
Well, no, forget it. It went viral, but in that virality, Dr. Phil is in the background. So if that gets watched 100 million times, 1 billion times, Dr. Phil just got seen 2 billion times. However, like
sure.
I feel like his news thing isn't getting off the ground though.
Yeah,
'Cause
maybe
he was
if
back
that
on it a while
fails.
ago to announce it, and they had said that he needs help with this.
Truth Central.
Yeah, I mean, if someone's
as
talking
soon as you
about
put
you,
truth in the name, I'm out.
I don't think that's the name. I just made that up.
unless he's trying to say Dr. Phil's a bad guy, he should embrace it. And I think the best for Adam Ray, and I give this a 3.5.
Well, what I would like to see, I want to see how far I want to see how far he can take this thing. He's obviously pretty good at this.
Like a movie?
No. Just like every
Doing
3 months,
characters.
show us a new character.
Yeah.
Show us what you got.
Totally.
Because he's got it.
I'm so with it, man.
Yeah,
That-
like I don't think he should beat this Dr. Phil thing to death. If he has another good couple in there, fucking do like
but it is Dr. Phil is his show.
sure, yeah.
Like he takes it on the road. And
Yeah,
that's what
yeah.
he does more than Adam Ray comedy.
I'm just saying, if you think about like a Sacha Baron Cohen, like
yeah, he could make this. He could do a show where he does Dr. Phil. Not Biden anymore because Biden. Nobody's
but
going to care.
This is the
about
point.
him.
You can
Yeah,
move forward
yeah,
doing.
Yeah,
like, dude, he could do a YouTube sketch show where he just does characters like this, and it's like a revolving door.
The world's open for this guy, and good for him because, like Kamar was saying, he wasn't going to get famous off his comedy. So it's amazing that he found himself this like little nook he could exploit.
Well, it's not even that. It's like, you and I were talking about like the TikTok famous, right? And how like you mentioned the fat Italian guy in the pool.
Oh yeah, my fave.
But remember, I said to you, I was like, they were doing TikToks for 6 months until that
Yeah.
one took off.
Yeah,
Like,
I did 17 of those.
it's not that Adam Ray wouldn't have found it. It's just that this was the thing that let him find it. You know what I mean? Like, if you're a good comedian, you're working long enough, you will find.
The irons in the fire.
Adam Ray had been working for like how many years with his comedy?
But that's every comedian.
No, I'm just saying. I think this was going to make him famous way more quickly.
Well, just like
than
Josh
that
Adam
was.
Myers achieved his success with the goddamn Comedy Jam and not stand up.
Well,
Kill
and,
Tony.
and look at the puppet guy.
Kill
like-
Tony.
But Kill Tony's a good example.
Kill Tony's
Tony,
bigger than Tony stand up.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
and
way
and it
bigger,
made
yeah.
him bigger
Yeah,
than
yeah, yeah.
stand
I
up
wonder
would
if he
have.
even wants to like go on his own.
I don't even see
I
Tony.
bet he would catch fire and sell out a world tour.
Tony?
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though.
Just doing stand up.
I think he's making so much off this, he'd be a fool to even release a special.
Yeah. It's like they say Kamala shouldn't say anything till she wins the election.
Yeah. I give it a 3.5.
That's it. We're done with it.
You got to rate
Well,
it.
they just talked about Kill Tony.
Yeah, you got to rate it.
I'm going to give this one a 3.25.
There
Because we
go.
did want to meet this guy.
Yeah, I did want him on the show, and I did,
wanted
and I've
him
learned.
as
And
Dr. Phil.
well, you got a little bit. You got a little bit.
That would have been crazy.
Like, you know what would be awesome is if Joe never goes on other people's podcasts, but if he had the Are You Garbage guys on to do him on his show,
He
that
hates
would
those
be
guys.
funny.
Oh, and Joe said he couldn't do anyone. He could do an Alex Jones.
He
You would
could
do an
an
alter
Alex
ego
Jones,
character.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And he could dress up as Alex Jones and look like Alex Jones.
Yeah, not that hard.
Joe could totally do that on Kill Tony. That would go over like crazy.
But why not just get Alex Jones? He'd be bummed.
Because doing the impression is what's funny.
Well, also, then you'd have to get Alex Jones drunk, and we know that that's a fucking liability. So
Did you see Alex Jones on Tim Dillon like a month ago?
Yeah.
He's just chugging out
Yeah, he's like in
was he still drunk?
New Mexico.
he's
I
in
don't-
like
I don't know.
somewhere on
Maybe it's apple
vacation or
juice.
whatever. Yeah. No, he's drinking hard. It's like 9 a.m.
Hard.
Gotta feel bad for the guy. All right, well, that's a show. Thank you so much for listening. If you made it this far, maybe, just maybe, you're willing to go a step further. We have a Patreon. If you want to support the show, you can do so for as little as $5 a month. Head over to patreon.com/JREE podcast. For that $5, you get the post show. It's the show for the show. We shoot the shit. You'll get old episodes of This One Age Well, where we went back and listened to old episodes of Joe and did the same bullshit we do here. Moon debate. We might be trash. All sorts of stuff over there. Also, thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring the show.
Best help.
And that's it. There will be a link in the description. Go check them out. We hope you guys have a great week. We hope you enjoy your weekend. And as usual,
Tell 5 people you hate about us. Keep your eyes open.